Just a quick announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Announcing the arrival of young Mohammed Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital. Please rise. Thank you. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and Salamat Sejahtera, everyone. On behalf of the organizers, partners, sponsors, I'd like to warmly welcome you today to the Great AI Hackathon, Great Malaysia, I beg your pardon, AI Hackathon 2025. My name is Imran and I have the honor and the privilege of being your MC today for what I'm sure is going to be a phenomenal and record-breaking hackathon. It is amazing to see so many brilliant minds gathered here today. Students, innovators, entrepreneurs, and professionals, all ready to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI. Before I go any further, I would like to acknowledge and thank a few very important people. We are truly honored to be joined by distinguished leaders, visionaries who are shaping Malaysia's digital future. Among us, first and foremost, we have the Honorable Young Mohammed Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital. Datuk Pamjit Singh, Chief Executive Officer of Apit Education Group. I beg your pardon. Mr. Adrian Marcellus, CEO, My Digital. Aya Wan Merdani Wan Mohammed, Vice President of Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC. Mr. Peter Murray, Head of Asia Pacific Japan, Go-to-Market, AWS. Enchik Hussein Muhammad Ali, Interim Country Manager, AWS. And Mr. Aldrich Koh, the Managing Director of ASEAN Records, along with many other industry leaders who will be taking the stage shortly. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. You're really adding the gravitas to this particular occasion. When I was thinking about what to say, I was advised by a lot of my more experienced colleagues to start with a quote. Okay, so with that in mind, it's customary to start such tech events with a quote from renowned computer scientist Alan Kay, who once said, "The best way to predict the future is to invent it." And I'm sure that's why you're all here today. I'm sure over the next few days, there are going to be a few highs, or a lot of highs, and maybe one or two lows. But if I may paraphrase Datuk Pamjet, do remember to smile. Okay. I'm sure, and have fun. I'm sure you'll make a lot of memories, and it's those memories and connections that will linger much further. Ladies and gentlemen, let's kick things off. Let's kick this hackathon off with energy, creativity, and some friendly competition, of course. Please give yourselves a great round of applause for being part of this incredible moment. Thank you. And now, without much further ado, I'd like to officially invite Datuk Pamjit Singh, Chief Executive Officer of APU Education Group, to open the event by delivering the welcome speech.
YB Gobind Singh, dear Minister of Digital, Engineer Wan Budani, our friend from MDAC, Mr. Peter Murray of AWS, Adrian Marcellus, CEO of My Digital, our industry partners, hackathon participants, and my dear colleagues. There are only few occasions when we see this hall full, and this has also been being extended to 2 other auditoriums. So this is not the only place where students are. There are roughly just under 1,800 of you in this hall and 2 other halls as well. A very warm welcome to every one of you, and especially welcome to APU, and I hope your day is going to be very productive and enjoyable. This event is the culmination of a long-standing association and synergy between Amazon Web Services, AWS, APU, and MDAC, all of whom have come a long way since in their respective sectors, working closely together on talent development over the years. APU has been recognized both locally and globally for its high employability, hosting more than 16,000 students right now, including 8,000 international students from 130 countries, a very diversified and rich community. Being at the forefront of digital education, APU is among the first universities in the region to offer an undergraduate degree in cloud engineering. This pioneering spirit, together with our partnership with AWS, reflects our shared vision to empower the next generation of cloud-ready and AI-focused talent to strengthen Malaysia's role in the global digital landscape. Many of our graduates now work as cloud engineers or cloud developers with organizations all over the world. Our commitment to AWS cloud innovation is reflected in the vibrant community we have nurtured. The APU AWS Cloud Club now has more than 800 active members in this university who participate in meetups, hackathons, workshops that promote continuous learning and collaboration. In the past 3 years, over 3,500 of APU students have benefited from the AWS Academy curriculum. And more than 500 students have gone on to achieve the AWS industry certification, ensuring that they graduate with skills relevant to today's digital economy. APU academic staff as well have been AWS certified, ensuring that our teaching and learning remains aligned with industry standards. Interestingly, APU also leads the way among Malaysian universities in developing innovative solutions using AWS technologies to enable our own digital transformation efforts. We are the only Malaysian university appointed by AWS as a consulting partner, where we share best practices with other universities. It is exciting indeed that this Great Malaysia AI Hackathon, as Imran has called it, has attracted overwhelming response with 1,741 participants, comprising 1,547 students from across 50 universities and 194 professionals. We are also excited that this event will also be vying for the ASEAN record as the largest on-site hackathon organized by academia and industry. In this regard, I would like to congratulate my colleagues from the School of Computing, in particular Associate Professor Dr. Tan Chin Aik, Dr. Ahmad Arshad, Ms. Tan Lin Jun, and the entire organizing committee for your untiring efforts in ensuring the success of this hackathon. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to YB Minister Gobind Singh Deo and our esteemed guests from Amazon Web Services, MDEC, and our industry partners for your continuous and invaluable support and encouragement. To all participants here today, I wish you an enjoyable hackathon and hope that you take back lasting memories of this incredible weekend at APU. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Datuk. May I now invite Mr. Peter Murray, Head of Asia Pacific Japan Go-to-Market AWS, to share AWS highlights.
Thanks, mate. Honourable Minister of Digital YB Gobind Singh, CEO of APU, Datuk Paramjit, to our dear friends from MDEC, our dear friends from APU, good morning, everyone, and welcome to what is going to be the ASEAN record holder for the largest hackathon arranged with academia, the Great AI Malaysian Hackathon. We at AWS are so excited, and I am personally thrilled to be here with you this morning. I want to thank our partners at MDEC who continue to challenge industry partners like AWS to think big on behalf of Malaysia, to think big on what we can do for talent. And I really want to call out everyone from APU who have worked so hard to make today reality. There are tens of people from the APU team who've worked non-stop, as well as running their own very busy day jobs, to make today a reality. So a huge thank you to everyone from APU who've contributed to today. To all of the corporates and the participants and the sponsors who've given your time and your sponsorship in kind to be here, thank you to you. Looking around the room today, I see the future of tech leadership in this country. Your presence is showing your commitment to build something that is bigger than yourself. You're at the forefront of AI acceleration in this country, and you're the generation that's going to propel Malaysia forward. To the 194 corporate participants who are here, you've given your precious time to be part of this. Many of you are working Monday to Friday at wonderful Malaysian companies, but you're also sending us a bit of a message. You're saying that you're not going to sit by and wait for the next generation to build it. You are also going to build it yourself. And that is exactly what events like the Great AI Hackathon are about, bringing university students together with industry to build the future. And we're so excited that the vision at the outset is what's coming to reality today. So, I have the distinct honor of representing AWS Malaysia today. And as the world's biggest, broadest, most accessible and most secure public cloud platform, we continue to launch groundbreaking services here in Malaysia to help propel and make AI more accessible and machine learning more accessible for builders and businesses of all sizes. Now, some data, because Amazon is a data-obsessed company. We have 549 teams who've registered for the hackathon, and 315 of you have already selected a problem statement, and 263 of you have requested an AWS Sandbox account. To support the hackathon, we originally approved $50 free AWS credits in every Sandbox account. So for those 263, that $50 US free to play with has been approved. But based on the reaction that we're seeing, we're doubling it. So every Sandbox account will have $100 US for you to build. Use every cent. Think big. Be bold. Build bold. Use the services. Experiment. Play. Test yourselves and test each other. That's exactly what these events are for you to think big and build bold. During this hackathon, you're going to have access to powerful AWS services like Amazon Bedrock, like Amazon Q. These services are helping propel Malaysian businesses forward already. And I just wanted to give one example of a Malaysian business who's already using Amazon Q. So Amazon Q is helping businesses like Deriv. Deriv is the world's leading and one of the world's largest online broking and foreign exchange platform providers in the world, founded here in Malaysia. So what is Deriv using Q for? Well, Q is acting as an AI assistant for Deriv, understanding their company's specific content, their context, their documentation, code repositories, and their data. And what they're using it for is to reduce the onboarding time of new customers to Deriv by around 40 to 45%. When we think about the impact to business, and this is what AI and generative AI is really about, the measurable impact to business. Reducing your time to service your first customer by 40 to 45% or to onboard employees by 40 to 45% has an enormous dollar value to all business owners. So when you're thinking about your hackathon challenges and when you're thinking about your use cases today, I'd encourage all of you to be really, really focused on what's that value, that measurable value that your challenge statement is going to address. Because I know in the businesses that we work with, who we talk to every single day, that's what they're really working backwards from. What's the value to my end customer and to my business? Do you know what excites me the most about generative AI and our AWS services? They're just tools. They're tools that will become transformative solutions, but they need creative minds, they need big thinkers, and they need expertise to put these to work for the benefit of businesses, for the benefit of communities. So these tools are powerful, but the tools without the builders are nothing, and you are the builders. So remember that. They're tools in the hands of great builders. Looking out today at all of you, I'm thinking, what are you going to create? How are you going to use these tools to solve real-world problems? How are you potentially going to develop the next breakthrough application locally here in Malaysia that's potentially going to help a Malaysian business to go global? Perhaps you might create a solution that's going to address pressing societal needs in your communities. This is your opportunity to create, to explore, to test, and to innovate. We want you to challenge assumptions, and we want you to think big. And remember, every great business, every great company, or every great idea around the world started in a room and started in a forum like this. Simple ideas in rooms with builders working backwards from big problems. That's what today and the next few weeks is about. Good luck. Work hard, have fun, and make some history. Thank you all so much. Enjoy this amazing experience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter. We really couldn't be here today without the leadership of the Ministry of Digital, which is helping to ensure that Malaysia is at the forefront of the AI wave that is about to sweep the nation, and the region, I should say. With that, I would like to humbly invite YB Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital, to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Dato' Paramjit Singh, Chief Executive Officer, APU Education Group. Adrian Marcellus, CEO, My Digital Corporation. Wan Mardani, Wan Muhammad, Vice President, Digital Adoption, MDEC. Mr. Peter Murray, Head of Asia Pacific and Japan Go-To Market AWS. Professor Dr. Ho Chin Kwan, Vice Chancellor, APU. Mr. Gurpradip Singh, Chief Operating Officer, APU Education Group, industry partners, academic leaders, students who are here with us this morning, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, salam perpaduan, salam Malaysia Madani, and a very good morning to all of you. First and foremost, let me take this opportunity to thank APU and AWS for inviting me to this event, which I see is a great success. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last month, the Ministry of Digital has had various events. These events are events that create awareness about what it is our country wishes to do when it comes to building this new AI nation that the Prime Minister speaks about. First, we had the ASEAN AI Summit. And I think at that summit, we had the opportunity and privilege of hearing for ourselves views from governments across ASEAN as to how it is they envision building a region that is AI proficient and ready as we move ahead into 2030. Then after that, we had the Smart City Expo just yesterday, over the last 3 days. And of course, at that expo, we saw huge participation by industry players, over 120 use cases showcased. And that event attracted a lot of attention as well. Next to that event, we had the Malaysia Digital Accelerator Program, which dealt with future next generation technology. We're looking at what we think are going to be areas that we need to capitalize on in the next 5 to 10 years so that we can ensure that our country is ready for next generation technology as and when it develops. Now, I think all of us here understand the real impact of AI and how it is going to change how it is we have done things before, and how it is we need to think about building structures that will prepare us for even more digital transformation as we go along. Now, this event, I think, is important. When we think about AI, we think about data. We speak about data, we need to understand what data means. Data has to be digitized for it to become useful for the purposes of digital solutions using AI. And then you have, of course, the need to think about compute power. Because if you have all the data in the world and you don't have compute power that allows it to be processed in a way that fits the solution that you want to create, then you're going to have difficulties creating those solutions. So in Malaysia, we have actually focused, the government has focused on data. We have now looked at establishing a data commission, which is tasked towards looking at data that we have across all ministries, at federal level, state, and even local governments, and then we have the private sector, and how we are going to make sure that that data is properly digitized so that it is capable of being used for digital solutions, how it is properly stored, we're looking at a data repository, and then ultimately how that data can be shared with all of you so that you can carry on the good work that you do using data and creating solutions. That in respect of data. In terms of compute power, all of you know that in the last 18 months or so, the Malaysian government has been very aggressive in terms of bringing investments into Malaysia. We see global giants now based in Malaysia, building data centers. And of course, that will deliver the kind of compute power that we require to become champions insofar as AI solutions are concerned, not just here in Malaysia, but around the region, which I think is significant if we want to position ourselves as being a global, a hub, a regional hub that will have a global impact as far as the digital economy is concerned. Now we have that. In other words, you have the facilities at your disposal. What needs to be done next is to ensure that you understand what can be done with data and compute power, how you can use AI to build solutions that will ultimately transform the way we have lived, the way we are going to live, and ultimately that will have that most impact that we speak about when it comes to AI, or not just you, but the entire country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about digital solutions, and I think this is something that perhaps you would have seen in the last couple of days doing what it is you do, we envision a problem statement. After you envision a problem statement, you start to think about how you can develop a solution for that particular problem statement. It's exciting. It is exciting because you know that there is a challenge ahead of you. It is exciting because you know that if you get it right, you'll be able to solve that problem. And of course, as you go ahead, you can build on that solution if you have data that leads or gives you that opportunity to think outside of what it is the problem statement is and move ahead even broader. But you need to also understand that in that process, there are significant areas that you have to also focus on in terms of governance. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to have a conversation with a robot called Sophia. I'm not sure if most of you here know about Sophia, but she was at the expo, and she was on stage with me. Now, this is a robot that can communicate with human beings quite easily. You ask questions, you get answers. Sometimes they ask you questions, and you have to answer. This is a robot on stage who participates in a conversation. Not only participates, but also provides input into the conversation, and ultimately shapes thinking in the audience using the input that the robot has, given the data that the robot has access to. Now, you think about it, we are going to move into a realm where we live with machines, where machines do things for us, technically taking over our everyday jobs, and we will become completely reliant on them. If that be the case, we must take steps to ensure that we understand how technology works. Because you don't want to have a position where technology fails and you're not in a position to deal with it when that failure occurs. Example, if you have a robot that comes on to stage and the robot, not just break, a robot can break down, and that has happened a few times, but there may be times when the robot reacts in a way that is inconsistent with what you expect of it. So you can have a situation where technology develops, but it develops to a point where you are no longer in control. And that is where the danger is. So we have to start thinking now about what we want to do so that we can build a digital environment that is secure for us when we want to adopt next generation technology moving ahead in this country. Assuming for a moment the robot breaks down or reacts in a way that is inconsistent than what you expect, what do we do? Do we wait for it to react? And then later on, after the event, think about how we need to build a structure around it? Or do we start now? Thinking about what possibly could happen, how we build solutions today, taking into account what can possibly happen so that we are ready for it. And sometimes there is a need for us to build structures that will prepare us for it. You need to have an institution that thinks about where robotics is going to take us in this country. When the robot does not behave in a way that it's supposed to behave, you may want to have a system that enables you to take over the robot manually so that you are still in control. A system that continuously recalibrates all machinery that is around you to ensure that at all points in time, it is functioning properly. And in the event there is a problem, a mechanism by which you can actually fix it before the robot is allowed to roll back onto the streets. You may also want to have a system that builds algorithms where you know that the robot is acting out of the ordinary so that you can actually deal with it before there is a problem and that problem causes damage which becomes irreparable. Now, this is the kind of thinking that we need to develop when we look at digital solutions. So when all of you here look at problem statements, you're immediately thinking about solutions. You're immediately looking around you for data, for technology that will allow you to build solutions. But there's also a need for us to understand that in all of this, there are certain layers of security, privacy, and governance that we always need to think about. We need to understand that we are going to move into a world where we are going to become dependent and very dependent on technology. 5 years ago, many of us here spoke about smart devices. Many of us were concerned and to a certain extent even skeptical about what it is these smart devices would do in terms of how it is we live. Today, all of us have smart devices and all of us are heavily dependent on these smart devices. Now, that was 5 years ago. Now, let us look at the thinking of tomorrow. If 5 years ago we were thinking about smart devices and today we are almost totally dependent at times on them, we develop AI solutions today, which we probably are going to be heavily dependent on in the next 5 to 10 years to come. There's a need for us to start thinking about how we can collaborate. Conversations are important. We need to talk to each other. Because when we speak to each other, we realize, and this is why the events that we in the Ministry of Digital has held in the last 1 month become important. When we speak to friends of ours in the region, around the world, they talk to us about problems that they have faced, underscoring the importance of us looking ahead. If we learn from their experiences, then we know that we have to take steps in the solutions that we want to create, bearing in mind the experiences that they have had. There's no need for us to create the same mistakes that they did. There's a chance for us to leapfrog. We save resources if we leapfrog. We avoid the mistakes that they have made. We move ahead. They too do the same. They look at us, ask us to tell us of our experiences, and they learn from us. And ultimately, we build a world in which there's collaboration, where all of us understand that if we work together, then we move a lot faster ahead. We save resources, And we ultimately are able to secure an environment that provides us with not just solutions, but solutions that are safe, reliable, which all of us can adopt, not just here in Malaysia, but also regionally and globally. So to all of you here, now we heard what Peter said earlier, Dr. Paramjit said earlier. This is an opportunity for us to have those conversations, for us to challenge each other, for us not just to agree, but to question, to push the boundary. We need to start thinking that way. We need to accept that in this new world of technology, it's the challenge that really allows us to innovate and thrive. And I must congratulate the university for putting together this event. Yes, it is historical and perhaps the record-breaking, as Peter has said, But what we want to see moving ahead is more events of this nature. When we have events like this, and this morning I made this point to Dr. Pramjit, we need to understand that quite apart from the academia, students and industry, there's also that layer of government participation. I would like to see, perhaps in the first quarter of next year, an event where government brings together the universities, the students, so that we can showcase your talent at a global stage and say to the world that in Malaysia, not are we just pushing the boundaries at a government level, industry level, we are also pushing the boundaries when it comes to academia and students who are now able to create solutions which others around the world look at, others are inspired by, and others want to adopt. This is what we need to do. And there is no reason why we can't. We have everything. We have the talent. We have the support. We have the ecosystem that the Ministry of Digital has focused on in the last 18 months building. It is now up to you. And I keep saying, and I repeat again, we build the infrastructure. We look at areas which involve trust, cybersecurity, data safety, so on and so forth. But ultimately, it comes back to talent. We can have the best infrastructure in the world, which is the most secure. But if people are skeptical and no one wants to use it, and we do not have a mindset that is innovative in nature, then all of that infrastructure comes to naught. So what we need to understand is that with the support of industry players like AWS and others that are now invested in Malaysia, with the support of the academia, with the support of the government, and most importantly, with your talent, with your push ahead, I think we'll be able to see Malaysia develop into a digital nation, and of course, the AI nation, as the Prime Minister has said, by the year 2030. So to all of you here today, remember, we are watching what you do. We are also inspired by what you do. We understand that there are challenges. Insofar as my ministry and government is concerned, we would like to have a conversation. We would like to participate. We would like to support. We would also like to inspire you to push boundaries and to succeed even further. So to all of you who are here today, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you. The job extremely well done. We are watching, we are hopeful, and we know that ultimately, if we carry on like this, inspiring our students, building this new next generation that is technology savvy, understands that we are going to live in a world in which technology dominates, but again, confident that we build technology, we are able to create guardrails around it, which make sure it's safe. Everyone is confident with what it is we do and ready to adopt. Then together, we will succeed. So to all of you here, thank you very much for inviting me. Make sure you carry on this great work. Government is definitely going to work with you, with the academia, universities, and I'm sure moving ahead at this pace, we will get to our ultimate objective of building an AI nation as envisioned by the Prime Minister by the year 2030. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for that inspiring speech. Okay. As Mr. Peter said earlier, there is something truly historic about today. This isn't just any hackathon. This is a record-breaking hackathon. Let us begin by introducing ASEAN Records through a video, a platform officially recognized by the ASEAN Secretariat.
ASEAN, a union of nations that represents the diversity and spirit of Southeast Asia, where tradition meets progress. with over 680 million people and a combined GDP of nearly $4 trillion. ASEAN is a region of incredible potential and impact on the world stage. ASEAN Records, founded in Malaysia with the approval of the ASEAN Secretariat, is dedicated to honoring outstanding achievements that define Southeast Asia. Our vision is to unite, celebrate, and elevate the excellence within ASEAN. ASEAN Records shines a light on remarkable accomplishments that define the spirit of this region. ASEAN Records, celebrating regional excellence, honoring achievements that uplift and inspire across Southeast Asia. ASEAN Records recognizes excellence across a diverse range of fields, from individual achievements in cultural heritage to innovation, environmental conservation, and community impact. ASEAN Records aims to inspire generations, foster unity, and promote excellence across ASEAN, showing what we can achieve together. Whether you're an individual, a building, an organization, or an event, ASEAN Records invites you to be part of our legacy. ASEAN Records, make your mark in history.
ASEAN Records documents and honors outstanding achievement across the region, spanning business, innovation, culture, and social impact. Today, we are gathered to officially recognize an extraordinary milestone that contributes to the growth and excellence of the ASEAN community. Let us now unveil the record title being conferred today. It is with great honor that we announce APU, MDEC, and AWS have achieved the largest on-site AI hackathon organized by academia and industry. May we now present the official ASEAN Record certificate to APU and AWS by inviting Managing Director of ASEAN Records, Mr. Aldrich Ko, to come forward as presenter for the official certificate presentation. May I also once again humbly ask YB Gobind Singh Dio, Minister of Digital, to come to the stage. Followed by APEC Group CEO Datuk Pamjit Singh, Aya Wan Murdani Wan Mohammed from MDEC, and Mr. Peter Murray from AWS to join us on stage to receive this prestigious recognition. YB will now present the award to APU, whilst Mr. Aldrich will present to AWS. This achievement is now officially recorded under ASEAN Records and serves as an inspiration to the entire region. Thank you very much, Mr. Aldrich. May I ask the Honourable Minister, together with Dr. Mr. Peter and Engineer Wan, to remain on stage whilst we recognise the sponsors for this phenomenal event. Starting with the platinum sponsors, Xrail AI. Please come to the stage. Crayon, please come to the stage as well. And eCloud Valley. I'd like representatives to come to the stage, please, to accept their token of appreciation. Next, the gold sponsors, Mind Zalera. May I ask representatives from Mind Zalera to come to the stage? Okay, Mind Zalera, Fusion QB. And Tapeway. Moving to the silver sponsors. Mind G Asia Pacific. Cloud Mile. Microlink. Mind Hive. And Cloud Kinetics. Finally, the tech sponsors, GitLab and Corn Ferry. Hold on. Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. I ask the dignitaries to take their seats. Thank you. Thank you very much. You may leave the stage. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, YB. We will now take a photo from the stage of the entire auditorium. So may I invite or ask the photographers to please come to the stage. Okay, thank you very much, YB. Sorry, photographers. Thank you very much, YB and his entourage. They will now leave the stage and we will take a short break. But may I ask the students and other guests to remain on stage whilst we take a short break. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please do remain in the auditorium. We will resume shortly. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will now resume with our program by going through a series of tech talks. Okay, so first up, we have Industry Insights by Enchik Hisamuddin, Senior Manager from MDEC. Can I squeeze it in? Bin Mohammed Yusuf. Okay. He's not here now? Okay, so can I announce it? Okay, sorry, one more time. We will start by going through some interesting insights delivered by Nick Hisamuddin bin Mohammed Yusuf, Senior Manager from MDEC.
All right.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone. A very good morning. My name is Nick. All right, thank you. All right, my name is Nick. I've been to APU a couple of times. I think some of you has already seen me or met with me and everything. So what we're gonna do today is just to try to look at a few of the things that we have done in MDEC, and also to look at the landscape of digital talent that we have in Malaysia at the current moment, to see that what are the things that you should be expected and also have to be aware of in the next couple of years. See what's going on and also see what are the new trends that we are looking at, right? So just to let you know about MDEC, we have been around since 1996. I think the older generation would remember that we started off as a multimedia development corporation, because at that juncture, our fourth prime minister was saying that we should be leapfrogging into the digital world. And last time it's more about IT, about communication, ICT, I think you all remember. So at that point of time, they started off with the multimedia super corridor, and it was very much a location based, whereby we are looking at from KLCC up to the KLIA, and that's where the Putrajaya, Cyberjaya, everything comes about on the location. So we actually evolved from multimedia super corridor, MSC status companies. If you remember last time, we evolved ourselves, and then we rebranded in the last time and launched Malaysia Digital, because, and also our organization changed from Malaysia Multimedia Development Corporation to become Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. So we want to address the key challenges that we have, and also how to look into addressing the ecosystem, the challenges, and how best we can help the, what do you call that, the economy. And one of the things that we look at is actually to increase the participation of digital economy from 25% at the moment to become about 30% at the year 2030, which is the next Malaysia plan. So under this agency, we look into the industry development, we look at the trade facilitation. As you would see that we bring in the investors coming into Malaysia, we facilitate, we help them, we promote Malaysia. And also we look at new companies, we look at Malaysian companies, Malaysia digital companies to go abroad, expand their presence, not just in Malaysia, but in the region and also globally. And also we look at policy advocacy, like what you see today. Last couple of days, we had Smart City. So how does these kind of programs will help to look at facilitation of policy, to look at changes in policy, to ensure that it enables and encourages your, what do you call that, innovation, your solutions into the, what do you call the ecosystem. So just to share with you some insights on digital talent at the moment. So this is the latest one up to the Q3 2024. We have about 363,000 talents in Malaysia. So this is what we got from LinkedIn. Top 5 locations still is in Kuala Lumpur. Number 2 will be Georgetown, and then Johor Bahru, Subang Jaya, and Cyberjaya. So these are the concentration of talents that is around. So although we look at, what do you call that, the concentration is still in Klang Valley, we want to expand further. Now MDEC is looking into helping out, encouraging more talents, encouraging more industry to be in Penang, to be more in Johor. We are also looking into Sarawak. And at the same time, we try to assist state governments to look at other states. Because I think everybody knows that when we talk about digital, you don't have to be in one particular place. Everything is interconnected these days. So you can be anywhere. So, but the thing is that where would be more advantageous for you to start off your company or for the industry to be? So these are the state government's role to make sure that they are assisting the companies, assisting the industry to be where they are, right? We saw the increase of the numbers for the last 2020 or in the 2024, whereby it increases about 8.36% all over, quarter by quarter. So we see that this trend would go further. And also just to share with you guys, the number of investments, digital investments coming into this country is increasing every year. It's not just about manufacturing, it's not just about construction, but it's also part of it is under digital economy. So these would assist into the number of job creation into the country. All right. So just to share with you what we do in MDEC, one of the things that we believe that it has to be starting from cradle to grave. It's not just about the universities. It's not just about the working people. So we started off the initiatives even from the school, because we believe that into digital economy, we have to create the interest, especially in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and also in engineering, all those line of programs. So I think students, you are the ones that is becoming our hope for the future. And then we have tertiary. So one of the things is that we do with APU and also all other universities, I'll share with you after this, is to set up the premier digital tech institutions. These institutions are actually the ones that have been selected together with MDEC and also the Ministry of Higher Education to look at how best we can actually assist the academia to make sure that they have the right collaboration, the right exposure together with the industry to ensure curriculum are being designed for the graduates to be ready for the industry, number one. Number two is actually to upskill the, what do you call that, the lecturers and also the academicians to ensure that they are also up to date with the latest skills and trends. So we also have the talent hunt. I think we already participated in APU's career fair every year, whereby we bring in the companies, we bring in the industries that offers premium salary for the graduates. And when you graduated, we have to continue learning, we have to continue upgrading. We have the MD workforce. So this workforce is actually part of the upskilling that you need to do. And sometimes reskilling or unskill also have to be done. So this is where the existing workforce has been trained. We offer training programs, we offer placement programs for everyone who wants to be trained and be back into the industry. And last but not least, we also have the entrepreneurs, the alternative income generators. We're not talking about the Grab drivers. We're not talking about the Grab food panda delivery guys and everything. We are talking about remote workers. We're talking about freelancers on the upskill, because with your skills that you have, be it DevOps, be it programming, be it UI, UX and everything, you can actually use your skills to be freelancers. These are one of the part. And if you are interested, you can actually go into our website, look at it, sign up, because there are certain ways to go for the platform and to ensure that you wouldn't be scammed. Some people do go out and sometimes they offer you like a few thousand, and it's too good to be true, but end up you be scammed. So there are a few platforms that is being validated, being verified, and we are working together with them to ensure that whenever the projects that you receive is actually verified and is genuine. Right, just to share with you what we do with the universities, we have this what we call the premier digital tech institutions. Among the objectives is number one, like I said just now, is to drive the student intake to get more people interested into STEM, to be ready, and also coming into the program, especially ICT, and also computer science, and also other business management, multimedia creative content, and also electrical engineering. These are the main components of digital economy, especially on the talent side. Number two is actually to facilitate, like I said before, to facilitate the industry curricula. So when we have this kind of review, this kind of input from the industry to ensure that the curriculum that you are actually going through is something that is being verified by the industry, so that it be prepared you with the right skills, the required skills, and bridging the gaps between the academic and also the industry to ensure that you have minimal friction, minimal kind of gaps that is required for you to be ready for the workplace. Number three, to strengthen the expertise of the academics, we do the upskilling, we do the programs, we do the the trainings for the lecturers to make sure that they are being equipped, they are being certified with the latest certification programs, with the latest skills that they require. And last but not least is your employment, to facilitate the graduate employment. At this moment, all our universities, all our PDTIs are actually ranking up to 95% average of graduate employability. So that is one of the things that we are proud of. We hope that we can continue serving that and making sure that our graduates is being employed. And last but not least, I just want to share with you some of the collaboration activities. One of the things that we are proud of is actually something like what we do today, is the collaboration, the hackathons that we do. And this is one of the biggest. But before this, we already done like 20 hackathons with all universities all around the country. We want to do more. Hopefully next year, hopefully this year, even in Q4, we're going to do another 50 to 20 hackathons all around the country. I think we're going to do a small one also with APU after this. But we want students to be exposed. with the real world cases. You are the future. You need to know what is the problems, not just in campus, but also in the community. What are we facing? What are the problems that we are trying to solve? And then using the data, using the right talent, the right algorithm, the right parameters. How is it? How best we can use technology to solve these problems? And we in MDEC, we support you guys, support the competitions and everything by giving assessors, by appointing judges. We also look into internship for every students and help the universities to ensure that you have further exposure in the industry. Just to share with you the faculties that we have, obviously we have APU, but we also are working together with Simlaya, UTM, Unimas, UKM, UITM, UniKL, HELP, MSU, MMU, to name a few. Taylor's is also there. Yeah. So these are the number of universities, the number of faculties that is working with us at the moment. And at this juncture also, we are working with tech clubs. Through all our PDTI network, we are working together with the tech clubs to do programs, not just on hackathons, but also on awareness programs, career fairs, and everything. So for APU, I think you can actually work together with Artificial Intelligence Club, the IPU IEEE Club, the Forensic and Cybersecurity Research Center, and also the Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Club. So you have all these clubs that is working together with MDEC. You can actually tap on, give them suggestion, what are the programs that you want to do, and hopefully we can actually do more programs after this. That's all from me. I hope I will want to wish you good luck. Have a good day. Have a great hackathon. Hopefully you come up with good solutions. You come up with good programs for the nation. And I hope that something should come out from here. Grab, I just want to share with you, Grab was started in a hackathon like this. And you know how big is Grab now. Custom was initiated, the ideation was something in a hackathon like this. A lot of solutions that you can see in the market right now started from hackathons like this. So don't think small. If you want to solve something, do it big. Think of Malaysia, think of regional, think of global. You can do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And my apologies for getting your title wrong.
No, it's all right. No worries.
Okay, next we have a featured speaker from AWS, Mr. Fahim Surani, Senior Solutions Architect.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Fahim. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect from AWS. And I think last week, Thursday, right before the long break, I was asked to come up here and do a demo. And I was thinking, all right, I've got a day, and then I've got a long weekend. What do I want to talk about? So at AWS, we have a bunch of services that you can use to make sure that you succeed in your hackathon. But by far, my favorite is QDeveloper. So QDeveloper is our solution, our tool that helps you build using generative AI. Right? It helps you code things. It can let you do many, many things. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what it's capable of, and then we'll see if I can come up with a demo that's interesting to everybody here. So one of the greatest things about QDeveloper, it's available wherever you work. So if you like VS Code, you're a command line person like I am, maybe you use GitLab, like one of our partners, it works. It's available there. It helps you build really fast. So one of the first things that you always want to do is you want to look at your AWS account, right? Because you're going to deploy things. You want to make sure it's running really well, or you want advice. Normally people would come to me and say, Fahim, how do I build this on AWS? But now you can just ask Q, so I guess I'm out of a job. The other thing it lets you do is you can actually build with the CLI. So this is like a little video of it actually being built. You can go ahead and ask it any questions. It'll explore your local code base, and you can get it to write code, run tests, debug issues. You can even tell it to deploy the code for you if you're not super familiar with AWS, and it'll teach you how to do this, which is really great. You also want it to find all the bugs you have in your code, right? The first time you write something, it's not going to work right. And so you want it to be able to figure out, okay, I got this code from the internet. I don't know what it does. Can I use it for my application? You can review it. You can find the security holes. You can decide the best strategy to deploy as well. And one of the best things about QCLI when you compare it to other coding assistants out there is it's trained on AWS. So it knows everything about it. It knows all 236 or some odd services that we have. Again, like I said, it can help you debug and deploy faster so you can hopefully win the hackathon. It can also help you manage and optimize your cloud resources. I know we've given you an extra $50, so you have $100, but who knows? Maybe the judges at the hackathon may ask, is this a solution that makes sense commercially? So Q will also help you figure that out. So it was Thursday last week, and I think Wendy, where's Wendy? Wendy told me, Fahim, you need to present. So I had to think about a demo. What am I going to show you? I knew that I wanted to talk about Q Developer, and I didn't even talk about all the fun things it does, like integrate with MCP servers. It'll also allow you to use Claude Sonnet 4, which is kind of the best coding LLM out there, which is great. But you've probably seen that already. The other thing is I didn't have a lot of time, right? I wanted to enjoy the long weekend. I wanted to have a lot of fun. And then I realized that I get asked to make demos all the time last minute. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's not going to be the last time. And to be really honest, I really like to game. Silksong just came out. I just downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to play it. I just started playing Subway Surfer again, and I'm terrible at it. And so I wanted to build something that would solve my problem for good. And so what I did was, I installed QCLI, and then I made a little something.
Hey, can you create a single page application in HTML, CSS for an AWS hosted AI hackathon for students? Make it look really cool.
I'll create a cool single page application for an AWS hosted AI hackathon. Let me build something modern and engaging for students. All set. I've created a modern single-page application for the AWS AI Hackathon with hover animations, smooth scrolling, and professional branding. Check it out in hackathon.html. The countdown is for October 15th, 2025.
That's great. Can you open it in the browser for me?
Okay, so I'm really lazy. So I got it to develop this without lifting a single finger. I didn't type anything, but that's not all. Let's see what else we can do.
Done. The hackathon page is now open in your default browser. Enjoy the animations, countdown timer, and modern design.
So as you can see, it's got all the animations that it promised. You can scroll around and see how it looks. If I want, I can ask QCLI to change it to dark mode for me, add a registration page, add a bunch of features. But I think we can be a little bit more ambitious. Let's say I'm a student and I've joined a hackathon and I wanted to create something for me. Hey, can you create a generative AI chatbot for internal document search for me? Make sure to use AWS services and get it to support a whole bunch of different document types, PDFs, Excel, Word, everything else.
I'll help you create a generative AI chatbot for internal document search using AWS services. This will involve several AWS components working together to handle multiple document types and provide intelligent search capabilities.
In the meantime, I'm gonna do what I really want to do, is play some games. Man, I haven't played this in a while. Oh, not that great. Damn, I need a lot of practice. That's okay. At least I've got QCLI.
Okay, that was my little quick demo. So I built this out, and I actually used this a few days ago to build another demo that I have to do next week while actually playing Subway Surfer, and it does work. So this is the demo that I wanted to talk to you about. So if you're interested in seeing this live, I didn't want to be like Meta and blame the Wi-Fi if something didn't work, but if you're interested, come talk to me after and I'll show you exactly how it works, but let me walk through if you wanted to build this for yourself. So I've got my computer and it's running QCLI, pretty straightforward. I wrote a little Python wrapper around QCLI because it runs in the terminal, and I wanted the Python wrapper to take care of all the input and the output from QCLI. Once I was able to capture that, I wrote a little main application that's going to do the rest of the work for me. The rest of the work, 3 services from AWS. The first one is Transcribe. It lets you take speech and convert it to text. The other one was Poly, which does the opposite. And then Bedrock, which I use to kind of summarize everything. So when I speak to QCLI through my computer, it sends it to Transcribe to turn it into text and sends it back to the main application. The main application talks to my wrapper, sends it to QCLI, comes back, goes back to the main, and then it sends that information to Bedrock. And it goes, this is all the stuff that QCLI just told me. Summarize it for me and tell me the important bits, and speak it out loud to me through Poly. And just like that, this flow continues over and over again until I build whatever complicated application I want without lifting a single finger, without really doing anything else that I need to, and let it do all the work, including opening the browser, running its own test cases, deciding if it works or not, while I get to do whatever I want, whether it's play games, whether it's hang out with my friends, or anything else. So, I'm going to give you a pro tip. If you're doing a hackathon and you want a free coding assistant that gives you access to the best model out there, Anthropic's Sonnet 4, go ahead and give QCLI a try, and then come talk to me about how I made the voice one so you can actually enjoy your weekend. That's all for me. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fahani. Okay, next, I think probably what you've been waiting for, to talk about the judging criteria and some of the rules of the hackathon. I'd like to invite Mr. Ahmed Arshad on stage to run us through those. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, especially dear participants who I'm going to engage during these 2 days, and respected sponsors who were so nice in sponsoring this event, and our amazing colleagues from AWS and all the other respected guests. So the real purpose now for gathering here is to participate in the hackathon, right? And as you have seen, it's a Great Malaysia AI Hackathon. So AI is very important, right? So that's something that I want to brief you about that also. So my name is Ahmad, and I'm senior lecturer in APU. And also I'm collaborating with many projects with AWS in the past, and even if now. And also my amazing team, who is part of the organizing committee here, who is setting up all the infrastructure and the other requirements. So, yeah. The purpose of this discussion is to discuss some of the evaluation criteria and some of the rules that I believe most of you have already attended that session in the past. The pre-hackathon briefing, right? That took place sometime back in 25 of August. But I would like to reiterate some of those points. If you are not sure as of now, so let me make it clear that we are having 2 tracks. And all of you basically have classified yourself into those 2 tracks respectively. Most of you are participating in the student category. And some of you are also participating in the industrial category. So as you have seen, we have given you problem statements, but not to everyone. So the participants that are belonging to the corporate track, they don't have any problem statements. So what we want you to bring your own problem statements, right? And that's what you need to document clearly in your pitching slides later on. But the students who have been given problem statements to choose, and I expect that all of you have already selected those problem statements. And even if some teams have not selected the problem statements, you can still select till tonight, right? So the portal for selecting the problem statement will close today, later on. And another thing which you need to remember, some of you have not completed the registration process as of now, right? Because you were getting late with the opening ceremony. So what I need from you, those who have not completed the registration process, you need to go back to the registration counter after this opening ceremony and complete that process. Because if you remember, in the landing page of the hackathon, we have given you some commitments. We have given you some access. So what are those access which you have already received? One is related to AWS Academy, and the second one is related to the AWS Skill Builder, right? So make sure that in order to retain that access, do complete your registration first. And regarding the hackathon rules now, student track, you are going to work on the specific problem statements. So we are going to choose top 20 teams. Top 20 teams we are going to select for the finale, right? And that selection will be based on a certain judging criteria that I'm going to discuss with you. And same will be the case with the corporate track. So we are going to select top 10 teams that are going to participate in the finale round later on in AWS Malaysia office on 12th of October. And what you want is over the next 2 days, make sure that you are very clear about your submission requirements. Submission requirements. So let me just recap on those requirements. So what we want, you have to create a solution demo. Whatever solution you create, so based on that solution, you have to create your recorded demo. And while recording that demo, you need to make sure that that demo clearly showcases the user experience. And apart from the user experience, it should also clearly showcase your usage of the AWS services. So it means that you may need to go into the management console to showcase the services being configured also, right? We don't want to select the teams based on wireframes only, right? So there should be some tangible effort that should be visible on your part in showcasing, right, as a POC, right? And another thing that you need to remember is that the recorded demo should not exceed this size, which you can see on the screen. The size is around 200 MB. We have put a restriction on that. And additional documents you can upload, and you should upload, because your demo may not be very clear on the novelty, may not be very clear on the originality of it. So what you need to showcase is the impact also. You may want to showcase the cost optimization, performance gains, commercialization aspects. So you have the freedom. You have the freedom to customize it, right? So we are going to give you those 3 category areas that will be used for the marking purpose that I will discuss. But on top of that, make sure that your PPT, the PowerPoint slide that you are going to create, it should have all those ingredients in it, right? To check. So it means the judge is going to look into that also. Not only the solution demo, definitely we are going to see, right? But on top of that, we need to look into your solution novelty, because in 5 minutes, I'm sure you cannot express everything related to your solution that you are going to create or you are going to produce. So that's why make sure that any other documents that you have, their size should not exceed 300 MB. You must submit all the documents together by midnight tomorrow. So the submission access will be closed after that time. So it must be done by 11:59 p.m. But I would suggest you don't do it on the last moment, right? I have seen many students in the past, being a lecturer myself, that they tend to delay the submission, and then I get all sort of messages on the teams that I tried to upload, could not upload because the submission closed already. So I will advise you that do it earlier, right? Play safe and do it earlier, right? Because the time of the hackathon here in APU will be over around 5 p.m. But we are still giving you some extra time. So after that, you can go back to your places. And if you want to further optimize, further create more features, you are free to do that as long as you are able to upload timely. right? So that's very important for you. And so what you can have in your pitching slide, especially for the corporate statements, we don't know what statements you are working on because we have not given you any problem statements. So you must select your problem statement and you must document it. So in your PPT, make sure that there is a clear overview of your problem statement given over there, right? It will show us visibility about your problem in detail. Write down clear deliverables over there, right? So that is important. And I would suggest even the student teams who are participating based on a selected problem statement, you can also give a more detailed problem overview because some of the problem statements may be a bit brief for you and you want to emphasize that problem with more depth. So do it, right? So there's no need to hesitate on that front. One thing you need to remember that when you are going to deploy your services on the cloud, so must utilize Malaysia region as a first priority. As a first priority. You are allowed to use other regions as documented earlier, as long as certain service is not available in Malaysia region, right? But if a certain service is available in Malaysia region, so then you should use that. And when you're going to demonstrate your management console for the configuration of the AWS services, we are going to monitor that also, right? Which region you are using. Are you able to use Malaysia region for that service or no, right? So first preference should go for that. But we also understand that some of the services are not offered here in Malaysia as yet. So then you can keep on using the other regions. And as Mr. Peter Murray announced that your credits have been doubled, so you can ignore this value of $50, right? So every team will be entitled to make use of $100 credit. And I believe that should be more than enough over a timeline of 2 days. Because after 2 days, once you have submitted your solution, you don't need to bother about those credits, right? And also, judges will be there also who will be evaluating your work, and they will be given access to the system. And what I can announce to you is that your submission will be marked by multiple judges. So we are not leaving to only one judge, right? So it will be marked by multiple judges, and our overall average will be calculated for every team, right? And we expect judges also to provide some valuable feedbacks to the participants. So if there are certain limitations, because obviously within 2 days, you cannot give a perfect solution. So if there are some limitations left, right, so judges will be able to give you some constructive feedback on that, right? So that is expectation that judges will likely be following. So it should be constructive, definitely. So starting with the criteria. So these are the 3 categories that will be marked. As you can see, the first category will be related to the novelty of your system. Originality doesn't matter. How your system stands out from the competition. This is very important, all right? There should be some novelty, right? Student track participants, obviously you got some ready-made problem statements, but we expect to further emphasize on the novelty in that. And corporate track, obviously you are bringing your own idea, so you should be able to work on that also. And in fact, you got more time, corporate track participants, because you were informed earlier that you have to bring your own problem statement. So maybe by this time you have already done lots of brainstorming on this activity. So 30 marks for the novelty. Second category is the impact. What is the impact of your solution? What is the long-term sustenance of this solution? Which market you want to target, right? So you are free. You are free to expand this in your pitching. Obviously, you don't need to do the pitching, recorded pitching, because you just are going to provide the PPT in this round. But if you are selected for the finale round, definitely we will call you for the presentation. So there will be live pitching in the finale round. So that is something that will be expected later, and there will be presentation marks over there also. And the last category will be the implementation. As I mentioned, we don't want to judge the teams based on just the theoretical concepts about your product, right? Long-term sustenance of that. We also want to see the technical competency, because you have been given AWS accounts. So you should use those accounts to the best possible usage of those accounts, right? So use services. If you are restricting yourself to non-AI services, obviously it will have impact on the marks. It will have impact. As you have seen from the problem statements that are given to the teams, that every problem statement clearly, explicitly says should be AI-driven solution. So we leave it to you, which AI services you want to utilize, right? So there is no limitation that you must use 3 or 4 AI services. You have the liberty to choose any. So solution will matter in terms of marking, 40% at this stage. So overall, there will be 100 marks, right? And we expanded our marking scheme actually. Why? Because we want to avoid lots of duplicates, like lots of teams with the same marks, because it will obviously make our life more tough later on while choosing top 20 as well as the top 10 teams, right? So that's the criteria for the marking. And judges will be using the judge panel, which has been created separately. And they are going to do the evaluation over there, give you marks based on novelty, impact, and implementation based on a given marking scheme. And as I mentioned, multiple judges will be evaluating your work. Now, some more information about the Hack Hub portal system. I believe all of the teams are already registered and they are able to access the Hack Hub portal, the web-based portal, which is given to the teams. And using that portal, you have already seen we have communicated all the previous enablement workshop schedules also, right? So all the communication is communicated via that portal, or our team is already in touch with you regularly on the Discord channel, right? You may have seen some technical support given to you, right? And some non-technical support also given to you if you are facing any issue. So you may remember Matthew, right? You may remember Mr. Nobody. You may remember Mr. Somebody, right? You may remember Mr. Abu Dhabi, right? So these are some funny names, right, which our team is using to get in touch with you, right? To give you support on the technical and non-technical areas, right? And our team, rest assured, our team will be accessible over the next 2 days, right? So you will be getting the support. And now the support will even increase because our team will also be visiting you in campus here. So this portal, right, if some team is still having issues to log in later on, our team will get back to you on that, right? But I believe most of you are able to enroll and you are able to choose the problem statements. So you need to log in. Once you log in into the system, then you can see the main dashboard where are the enablement workshops are already communicated. Most of them are done, right? But still there are a couple of the workshops that are left that I will recommend you do participate, right? Don't think that the hackathon initial round is over, so you don't need to go for that. That will be useful for enhancing the technical competency for you. So there will be slight variance between both the tracks. Corporate track will have some difference from the student track, because student track, you are allowed to choose the problem statement, and corporate track cannot choose. So these are some screenshots given. Later on, our team will be sharing all this with you also. So if you are still blur on certain areas, how to use this portal, that will be useful for you as a user manual. And also remember, the schedule will be clearly visible over there in terms of the timeline, when you need to submit, how much time left before the submission closes, right? So just regularly check all the schedule, all the rules over there, whatever are mentioned. And credit, as I mentioned, $100 you already received. So you can improve your product further based on that credit. And here you can see those teams, especially who have not selected the problem statement, right? So the problem statements, they are made visible to you for you to select. But do remember, we want all the problem statements to have some working teams. So we have restricted to 20 teams. So every problem statement can be selected by a maximum of 20 teams, right? So once a problem statement is fully utilized, so that will be disabled. So you must choose another problem statement based on that. So the submission is quite straightforward. The UI is quite intuitive, as you can see over there, and you will be able to upload your videos. But as I mentioned, don't try to upload on the last moment, especially the video work, right? So do it earlier. And thank you very much for this.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad. That's all very crystal clear now. Okay, so the final part of our session this morning will be a series of talks from our industry guests and sponsors. So let's start off with our first talk. So may I invite Mr. Kelvin Koch, Chief Architect of Xrail, to give us a talk on Xrail AI agent on AWS. Thank you.
Hi, very good morning to all of you, right? So I guess everyone is super excited today to start building something. So I think for the past previous speakers, right, you can see that lots of things can be actually built on AWS in like a lightning speed, right? So before we go into more on the AI related topics, I would just like briefly introduce myself, right? So I'm just like you, but a bit older, right? I'm like a coder, just like you, but I'm like 20 years ahead, right? A bit older. So I used to work in some organization like Amazon Web Services as a solution architect, just like Fahim, right? Help lots of customers to go through the cloud journey, the data journey itself. Then I love tech, right? So I took up some courses like you can see from MIT and also the AWS itself. So I think today is not really about me, right? It's about Xrail, right? So we are actually an AWS Premium Consulting partner, right? Help lots of like company that you can see here to go through the cloud journey. So I think some of the logos here might be familiar to you, right? So if you happen to drop by Family Mart to buy ice cream lately, right? To buy Orden, right? Or even at home, you're trying to order something to deliver to you. The entire experience is actually powered by AWS and is obviously developed by us, right? So if some of you have seen through some of the reference architecture about the serverless stack and also all the Lambda, DynamoDB, all this jargon that I talk about, right? This is the real thing in action in production for multiple years already. So of course here we have other customers that we have as well, right? But I wouldn't go into too much details. So so basically we work with AWS closely, right? We joint publish some of the use cases and things that we have done, right? On top. So over here on the top left, right, you might see some guy's name quite familiar. That's me, right? So over there, if you today you Google Xrail and AWS, you will see like multiple use cases, right? This particular blog post is interesting, right? If you want to like get some additional point for your judging for your submission, right? Because I think earlier one of the rules here is actually to talk about how to like describe what is the business value for whatever problem you're trying to solve. So this article inside actually talk about how we help customer to use technology to solve a problem. And I think most importantly, right, is also about the business value, right, which is one of the things that you need to submit later. Of course, in Singapore and Malaysia, right, we have lots of like organization ranging from startup enterprise, right, to go the journey. So I think a couple months ago, right, if you read the news, right, Gobind Singh and Prime Minister obviously was in the event about the National AI Office launches, right? So obviously we were there, we showcased some of the cool stuff. And if you notice, right, this is not my Facebook, right, or my LinkedIn page. This is Gobind page, right? So actually, we do a lot of like cool stuff together to help the nations, right, to transform as well. So in general, right, you might think that, hey, Kevin, so what you do, right? You talk so long. So we provide 4 services, right? One is obviously help customers to move their workload from anywhere to AWS, right? So this is about the cloud migration. And if you know there are some older or even legacy application today is still running on the .NET or even on the Java application. So this is something we do to help customers to move as well, right? To modernize it using the container services such as the AWS ECS, all these kind of things. The other one is like the data insight. So this is something interesting, right? You might maybe consider to select as a part of your problem statement you want to do is that today, right, most of the enterprise, right? Imagine you're an F&B company or retail company. you sell in multiple places. You have lots of data, right? All over the place. So the last thing you want is that you have a person, right? Could be your finance department or could be some operation guy, right? Download all these files manually, right? From different systems just to tabulate some data inside to look at as a business perspective. Then from there, you might ask is that, hey, Kelvin, what do you mean, right? So maybe I give you an example. So imagine you're an F&B guy, right? Or maybe you're a retail guy. You sell in multiple places like GrabFood, Foodpanda, right? And maybe you have your in-store as well. So from here, you can tell is that, hey, actually you have 3 data sources already. These 3 all give you similar data, but obviously it's different format, right? Because it's different system. So the last thing you want is that to basically have human do this part, okay? So over here, what you can do is obviously build some logic, right, on AWS to ingest this data through the Grab API, do the Foodpanda API, whatever API you have, right? Push into a place, right, that is secure, right, that is reliable, that is scalable, right, which is AWS S3, right? Drop it there as a data lake. Use some logics, right, that to transform this data and drop into the data warehouse. So from here, if you are someone that is technical, you will know that there are multiple services involved. S3, drop everything in. Lambda, right, to like call the Grab, all these guys API. Then use AWS Glue to transform them. Then all these results you can drop into the AWS Redshift itself as a data warehouse. Then you can build dashboard, right? All these like QuickSight, all these different things on top. So from there, rather than you have to go to the different system to pull the data, right? To process the data manually, everything can actually happen automatically. So the other one is the digital platform, right? This is how all this like loyalty platform, e-commerce platform that I talked about earlier. Okay, so of course the most important one is the AI agent, right? Which is the key topics for today. So I think lots of customers or even the peoples that we work with, right? The common challenges today is always talking about the costs, right? Everything up price, right? Like yesterday, I think some of you read the news about the petrol as well. So the other main more challenges is that if the business, right, or your future employer, right, is growing, do they hire more people or they make it more AI enabled for the employee itself? So this is the exact important points that I want to point out about the agentic or even the AI agent concept, right? So ultimately, you can imagine, right? Later when you graduate, right? Or even right now when you do the AI hackathon, rather than you build all the code, you have the Q developers here, right? Just like what Fahim has shared earlier, right? To help you to code some of the thing, rather than you build everything from scratch. So that's the whole ideas for having the AI agent or even the agentic workflow itself, okay? So, but then the critical part here is that, hey, how is this AI agent, right? Or this Gen AI stuff different from the old days, the robotic process automation, or this RPA stuff. So this is the parts where typically for the RPA, right, basically you're just like capturing the human keystroke and replay in the Windows machine, right? So there's no like real AI inside if you were to think about it. Imagine you're building a code, right? You cannot like use RPA to do the code for you, obviously, because the logic every time is different. But then when you move to AI agent, things is different, right? You enable the large language model capability for machine to see, to listen, to comprehend, right? And also to obviously to gen stuff for you so that you can actually speed up the things that you want to do. So if I were to use a common example, right? Like for some of the, if you have, we have some accountancy students here, is that you will realize lots of things in the accountancy world or even in the finance world, right? Require a lot of like manual work, right? So all this manual work, what if you can actually push the productivity for 40% or 60%, right? So the example I want to show you is this type of like typical business workflow process. Imagine you are a company that is selling plastic bag, right? Or you're selling some products for some other people, a typical B2B company. So obviously you will need to have someone to, your customer send you a purchase order. Then you have a person just to key in the data, right? So that you can create the sales order for the operation itself. So the same experience, right, can put in the AI agent in between to automate the whole process, right? So rather than you do it, you just need an email agent, right? Sit down there, check the email just like a human, but make use of some of the like AWS services like the Lambda, Bedrock things that I talked about earlier to automate the whole process. So I think the gist for this here is that it's not about the business use case, right? It's about how actually this business use case can translate to all this technical architecture that you'll be doing later. Because ultimately, right, if you recall what I've been shared earlier is that it's always start from a problem statement, right? The problem statement that you are trying to solve need to have the business value. If not, then you are just doing some science experiment that you cannot be like, that you can't win the competition, obviously. So obviously there are lots of different like agent use cases that can be done, right? Over here, we see quite a lot of like common use cases, right? So some is related to the customer service, some is related to the finance, some is related to some like recon itself. So over here, I'm not going to like go too deep into details, but we'll just share one particular example that is quite like common or we see a lot, right? So in this video here, right, the left side is actually the typical WhatsApp that we use every day, okay? So this WhatsApp that is a little bit different is that it's not like the typical rule-based WhatsApp that you see there, like you use Chargy app to order that kind of WhatsApp, right? So this is fully Gen AI power, okay? So you might consider to use this kind of use case for your hackathon later, right? So basically over here, if I were to go into more technical is that there will be an API gateway deployed in AWS with Lambda, with DynamoDB, and obviously with the large language model Bedrock that is powering this whole thing. So human talk to the machine through the WhatsApp interface, right? Then after that, all this data can be actually captured and stored in the DynamoDB, right? Which is a serverless NoSQL database. Then after that, use the brain, right? Which is a large language model to do the response in the different languages itself. So the one on the right side is just an admin portal, right? That is built using React.js where you can do easily. Then from there, you just have an API gateway pull data to display. So this is something that is like fast enough, right? 2 days, I'm sure you can build, right? And you can actually generate out. So this is just one particular example. So I think the main things, right? Today, almost every talk, right? Or every session, we will like see people talk about AI, and AI. But a lot of times, like, people forgotten the most critical component, which is the one that below, right? All this like data foundation. Because ultimately, the things that you have built on top rely on what the data that you have. If you have the data that has a problem that is incorrect, right? So it's technically just a garbage in, garbage out, that kind of scenario. So I think the common question I get from, right, is that, hey, Kelvin, I think Malaysia, all this technology seems very new, right? Are there any Malaysia company using? Obviously, yes, right? We have a few customers that work with closely that actually deploy Gen AI in production. One of them is obviously, if you watch F1 before, right? It's Sepang International Circuit, right? So right now they don't host F1, they host the motorbike version of this, which is MotoGP, right? Last 2 years we support, right? And this year, obviously, we continue to support to make it happen as well. So again, the other one is, I think, something that very close to all of you. I'm sure you buy books from them before, right? If you still remember when you are young. So same thing, right? A traditional company, right? Rather than rely on a human to go through the whole manual process, just Gen AI the whole process. That's all, right? So from the business value itself is very clear, right? So rather than human do the work, now Gen AI do the work. And you have all the services, you have access to all these services today already. You have 100 USD credits. Everything you need is just inside, right? Lambda, like DynamoDB, Bedrock, all this kind of jargon I talk about, if you know what I mean. So the other one is actually for customers like Family Marts, right? So ultimately, you can have a layer of foundation. If you look at this diagram, it's something that is important, right? Ultimately, all these apps that you see on top, the 4 little apps, right? You need to run in a secure platform, okay? So a lot of people just focus about Gen AI, all these like different services, right? But ultimately, the cloud foundation is important because if your system always down, then then obviously your user or your customer cannot use it as well, okay? So I think the important question for everyone, right? Especially all the students that is participating for today, right? Will AI replace you? This is a question always like get asked, right? So I think answer is no, right? The difference is that whether you know how to use some of these services that is there. So I think the critical components that I want to highlight is that in the past, right, if you're old enough, right, you will know that program is actually like built using that little punch card, right? If you Google the something, I haven't seen it before. I'm not that old, right? So then subsequently, right, program, right, is actually built using the code itself, right, which is what we're doing right now. So right now, program is do using prompt, just an English instruction. So I think it's something that is useful where today you can actually use it lah. So we have a workshop that's coming up, right? If you want to learn about how to build a bot using all the Gen AI things that I talk about, it's Tuesday, right? This is the room. You can like QR code the whole thing, right? So I think this is something that you get real hands-on, right? Build something on top, right? And you see how to use some of these AWS services to turn the idea into reality, right? So this is the one of the critical one. So the other one is that I think this is important, right? And understand there are a lot of people here looking for internship, looking for full-time position. So obviously we are hiring aggressively, right? We need another 20, 30 people to join us, right? To scale the team, to help fellow Malaysian company to build something exciting together. Okay, so I think this is the last one I have, right? So hope you all have an exciting hackathon for the next few days. So if you want to have some like technical question, you want to ask like how we can build something faster, right? I'm here to help you, right? And our colleague here will help you to like use some of the new services to make it happen. Okay, thank you everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on. Our next talk is entitled Driving Greater Good with Intelligence. May I invite William Tan, Business Development Services of Crayon Group, to the stage.
Hi, good morning. Hi, good morning. Thank you. So happy to be here. And yeah, it was a wonderful speech by Kelvin. So yeah, it is so happy that I'm part of the history today as the largest hackathon event in Malaysia, in ASEAN as a whole. So who am I? I'm William, Business Development Manager for Crayon Malaysia. So driving greater good. Hang on, let me get my clicker. So driving greater good with technology, that has been our tagline for Crayon. But today I'm going to make a change and make it into intelligence because it sounds cooler, and also at the same time, because intelligence drive technology, right? Intelligence drive technology, and with technology, you innovate. You innovate, and with the same problems that we see every day, because of the creativity, because of the availability of your intelligence, I can see many ways to solve a problem. So Crayon is a versatile company, consultancy, and we started off with software asset management and moved on over to cost management as well. I think Kelvin mentioned also earlier on, it's always about budget. We always want to cut down budget, correct? So as we are going through the use cases later on the hackathon, bear in mind when it comes to the business case, how to reduce costs, very important, correct? Because this is typical use case to bring business, bring back the ROI on the solutions that we've delivered for the customers. And next up, we move on over to cloud consultancy services, where we work very closely with AWS. And from then on, we also have data and AI. All in all, we cover the entire technology landscape. Now, for the past 20 over years, we have been working in the industry, and we started off in Norway, 5-man company, really, really small company. And from there, we grew to 4,000 strong. And today, we have 47 countries across the globe, and we cover 10,000 enterprise customers. And we also have worked with partners, resellers, to cover another 6,000 resellers to cover another 100,000 customers. So we have a very strong customer base over here. Now, we work very closely with partners, and we believe strongly in our partnerships, both AWS, upstream partners, as well as our resellers. So a little bit on the AI journey that we have. So we have been in the AI for the past 10 years already. So in the past 10 years, we have done 300 plus applied AI projects. We have not updated this number, but yes. Enterprise ML expertise, we already have 2,500 models running on our machine learning operations framework. And for the COEs, these are center of excellence. We have not one, not two, but 4 center of excellence across the globe. And these center of excellence, they set the standards on the quality of work that we deliver on all our AI projects. And then in terms of the responsibility framework, I think this is very important. In terms of all projects, all AI projects that we lay out, we can ensure that these are governance. So we have CRAIG, the CRAIG, which is Crayon AI Responsibility Framework, where we talk about ethics, we talk about security, we talk about governance, and of course, the most important, robust engineering. So all of these will be vetted through before we handle any projects. So we also have a specialized language team, which have delivered over 100 NLP projects. And of course, we work very close with AWS. We are globally recognized as an AWS partner. We are also one of the first in Asia Pac to use Bedrock when it started off. So a little bit more on our COE. So look over here in the diagram, you'll see there are 4 pillars: language technologies, decision intelligence, computer vision, and finally, data engineering. So of all these 4 pillars, this sets the foundation of AI that we do. So language technologies, I think you're all aware of the LLM already, right? Grok, DeepSeek, yeah, and those models for Anthropic, or even Titan, right? These are getting more and more complicated, more and more complex over months, not even years, over months. And they are moving towards agentic AI already. Not just agentic AI, sorry, but it's rather AGI. So we are moving towards that era. It's getting more and more complicated. So we have a team on that pillar. Next thing up will be decision intelligence. So this team looks at models, creating models, foundational models, and fine-tuning those models. I mean, you could have a lot of data, but without the insights of this, without the ability to understand your data, it'll be useless. So this is what this team does. And of course, computer vision. For computer vision, I mean, this has been around for many years, but the fact is, without computer vision, a lot of solutions could not be completed. So we have the computer vision team, and finally, and most important of them all, the data team. This data team looks at the architecture of the entire solution. They ensure that you have the ability to cater for all those data that are coming in and cater and be ready for AI. And on the projects, I think this is rather interesting because later as you were going through the hackathon, thinking of a business case, you will want to see what's happening out there in the market, what AI projects are out there in the market already. So among all the 300 plus projects that we have done, so I'm going to showcase just some of them in the next few slides. So STEM Spark, we started off with education first, right? So STEM Spark. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So this we have been working with a Singaporean institution, education institution, and they wanted to enhance their AI, enhance their STEM literacy using AI. And what we've done for them is we've created an application that will be able to, of course, solve their problems. So what was their problem? So they have difficulty accessing to all these information resources over multiple platforms. And these platforms are not easily accessible by the lecturers. And in terms of the accessibility, they also wanted to have a single portal for them to do searches as well. So basically what we are doing here is we wanted to create a solution to empower the lecturers, not to replace them, but to empower the lecturers to be able to get the information that they need quickly and to enhance the STEM literacy. So the system that we created allows them to retrieve this information quickly using AI. They'll be able to search through the portal and grab all this information. And on top of that, they're able to also create packages, lesson packages from the resources available. And in the event where the resources are not available, they are also able to generate lesson packages which are not available and accurately. So that's a solution that we provided for the education space. Next up, this is a healthcare credit match. So typically in a healthcare, they have a lot of standards, and they would always wanted to ensure that their hospital, their clinics are of a certain quality. So we are approached by a company who's dealing with as a global driver of quality improvement and patient safety. So they deal with a lot of accreditation to ensure that these hospitals manage to meet the standards. So they have a large team of surveyors. And these surveyors, as you see, all hospitals, all healthcare industries, they wanted to be able to meet this level, to meet the accreditation, to get the certification. So thousands of healthcare actually reaches out to this company, and their surveyors are stretched, and they wanted to ensure that all these surveys, all these requirements are met. Okay, so for hospitals, as these surveyors observe, right? This is what they do. They observe what's happening in the hospital, and things like, for example, as the surgeon is going to the operating theater, are they washing their hands? Did they wash their hands? Or is there enough hospital beds for the patients? What about the exits? No? Are there enough safety exits over? Are these all taken care of? So this is what these surveyors do. They observe and they write them down. Now, as they write them down, they need to tie this to the standards available. Now, these standards are actually provided by multiple accreditation bodies. And they are kind of confusing, and because there are really a lot of standards that need to match. So what we have done is we've created an application for them. Using AI, we are able to match the problem statement to the standards. Or whatever they have observed will be matched to the standards. And things that are very difficult to match will also be helped by AI and will be flagged out for any anomalies. Okay. So next up, we have Eco Sentinel. So this is actually deforestation and illegal plantation detection system that we've done. So we're working with NGO for this in Vietnam. So the fact is deforestation and illegal plantation actually takes out the animals, the wildlife, as well as protected plants. And typically when this happens, it's too late already. When deforestation happens, by the time they're detected, the animals are already affected. The trees are gone. So this is going to affect the wildlife as well as the plantations for all these species, right? For the new generation. So what we have done for them is using just simple computer vision. We visualize the extent of human activities in the area, and with a little bit of machine learning, we are able to detect and predict the severity of that problem before it happens, and highlight the extent of deforestation to the authorities. Okay. So these are the 3 use cases. So they have more interesting projects, which I'm going to run through very quickly. Okay. So there's a unsupervised action recognition, animal monitoring. Interesting, using computer vision, we are able to monitor the weight, right? The weight, the health, the habit. No, we're even able to find out if the animal is happy, the cattle is happy. Piece classification, metal corrosion. Yeah, I'm just going to run through really quickly on this, right? And even creating videos at scale. Debt restructuring, yes, we work with loan sharks, licensed loan sharks. Financial market intelligence, pavement inspection and monitoring. Yeah, Malaysia would love to have this. We will be able to fix the potholes before it happens. Agri-tech industry, technical documents, production optimization, and on and on. So there are a lot of industrial use case that has already been rolled out. All right, you can see if we can help you in your hackathon later on. With that, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. May I invite our next speaker, Mr. Amir from eCloud Valley, to the stage. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, hello, hi. How you guys doing? Okay, so the guys, all of you who are still here, I'm guessing that you guys really want to stay till the end. Okay, is everybody here a student? Are all of you students? Okay, who's first year? Who's second year? Who's third year? Fourth year? Final year? Wow. Okay, I only have 6 slides. Okay, now I'm not an architect. Okay, I think well done to Kelvin. Okay, because that's very technical. I'm not here to talk about very deep tech. Okay, I think thank you to William. Okay, he's in business development. Okay, so he can talk about everything that the organization sells. Okay, my job is to build people. Okay, that's what my job is. So for the next 10 minutes, I just want to focus on 6 slides, and it's definitely relevant to you guys because I'm really going to talk about what we look for when we try to hire you. Okay, so this 6 slides is really talking about kickstarting your AWS AI journey. Oh, it's already moved. Okay, so why AI and why now? Simply because AI is no longer the future. Okay, AI is currently happening already. So outside in the real world, in Malaysia, we already see AI being adopted in banking, in telco, and I'm sure that you guys see this too. Okay, now the best thing about it is that AI is happening during your time. Okay, so you guys are the best generation to experience it because right now, while you're here, immediately after you graduate, your workplace or the offices that you will join will be completely different. Okay, it'll be very much an AI world. So why does AWS matter? Okay, I heard from from Pete in the morning. If you guys were here in the morning, you guys have a AWS club. Okay, cloud clubs. How many are you guys from that club? Anybody? How many of you are aware of AWS? Okay, awesome. Okay, so AWS, because AWS is truly the world's leading cloud platform in AI and ML. Okay, with AWS, you don't have to start from scratch. So basically, you have services, recognition, Lex, Poly that you immediately can use. Okay, you have Gen AI via Bedrock, so you can immediately try out things like Titan and Claude. And you have machine learning with SageMaker that you can immediately use. I'm not going to go into this because I think in the past 2 presentations, okay, a lot of the demos were shown, and I'm sure that honestly, perhaps you guys are smarter than me on this lah. Okay, I'm much older than the first 2 speakers. Okay, so again, this is what happens after university. So if a lot of you were wondering, what opportunities are there for you guys when you graduate? Okay, or what opportunities are there, for internships? I'm sure a lot of you have heard what cloud engineers are. Okay, But have you heard about what an ML engineer is, a data engineer is, an AI app developer? No. Okay, so at eCloud Valley, okay, pretty much these are the new roles, okay, for the new AI world. And together with us along the way, once you join us, you will be trained in the core skills, cloud fundamentals, programming, data literacy, and you must have soft skills. So learn, practice, and showcase. All right? Badges matter. Huh? Okay, so the first part, in terms of learning, you know what AWS Educate is, right? Okay, you know what AWS Skill Builder is. Do you know that when you actually get a certification from AWS, you get a badge? How many of you guys are aware of that? Okay, great. Okay, my advice is get your badges early. Okay, the badges, they matter. Why? Okay, because the badges pretty much gives you that capability. Okay, it gives you that endorsement of capability. Okay. I give you a short story lah. Okay, since all of you are, you know. Do you know how many CVs that I get per month? Just take a guess. How many CVs do you think I get per month? Huh? 1,000. Wow. Okay. More realistic lah. How many do you guys think I get a month? Wow. Okay, I get about 40 to 50 CVs per month. Okay, so that's really more than 2 CVs per day. Okay, who do you think gets called for interview? None. Okay, who do you think really gets called for the interviews? The ones with the most badges. Okay, so really the badges get you in the door. Okay, practice, you know, of course, practice is in events like this, hackathons. Okay, so this is definitely a great platform to practice. Okay, and what does practice do for you? What's that? Practice makes perfect. Practice gets you noticed. Okay, people like me, people like your first 2 speakers, you know, they will always send judges for events like this. So really, these hackathons, you know, are platforms that we use in order to see who of you actually has that practice, okay, has that advantage over some other of your colleagues. And the last one, showcase. Okay, showcase. Showcase just means that, you know, in the future, okay, the best candidates are the ones that are most proud to show us what they've built, what they've made. Okay? So really that's part of the tip. So over time, of course, you will join in at entry level, intermediate, advanced, and then leadership. Okay, so one day very soon that perhaps you guys will be the ones on the front row in events like this. So be curious, be connected, and be consistent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amma. Okay, our 4th talk is entitled AI Unlocked, From Data to Super Apps, AI in Action. May I invite Mr. Stephen Lim, co-founder of Fusion QB, to the stage. Thank you.
Testing. Okay, I see people is leaving. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephen Lim, co-founder of Fusion QB. Today, Fusion QB will also be coaching. I guess, 22 teams. First of all, I also would like to share with. Can I get the mentors to stand up a little bit in this room? Yeah, so these are the 4 mentors that's really coming from our companies, and we have a hands-on of the practicality of how we resolve and also how we provide solutions to in the business world itself. Fusion QB is really a startup that's been started up since the year of 2018. So that's where we really run this company as a startup. So if any one of you in this room has the intention of starting your own startup yourself, do come to us. We can actually have a conversations of how do we start a startup, who are the partners, and how do you actually define partnerships, right, from the business world itself, right? We provide customer data platform solutions. We help businesses to collect, segmentize, and also analyze data. And also we provide business super app. So the business super app is here to basically help businesses to activate the customer data with by empowering them the experience data, engagement data as well. So that's basically in a nutshell that what we have been doing for the past few years. We are now supporting 60 over enterprise clients, and of course we are now managing more than 1 million of unique customer profile as well. If you want to know how business will really take your data, and then we are not talking about IC data, we're not talking about just name, age, and all that stuff. We are talking about your behavioral pattern data, right? So how do you step into a business shops and then start being influenced by some of the promotions they have, advertisements they have, and also the what we say is discounts that they want to lure you to spend more with them, to bring you back to their shops every time or every moment that you have actually seen their brands again in the social media. So this is what we do. So we help businesses. There are a lot of challenges in the business world that, out of your surprise, I know that all of you are just a student today, but trust me, probably you understand more than a businessman right now out there in the market. So you probably very focused in this platform and also the opportunities given by APU and also AWS by sharing with you all the industrial expert that we have over here. But again, we want you to refocus the problem statement that we shared with you today, and also for you to do a submissions tomorrow. It's all about data and also AI. But AI, I guess some of the industrial expert has mentioned, data is the foundation. So we deal with a lot of data challenges that we have. Fragmented data, right? So data is very messy, it's unstructured, no real-time insight, and a lot of businessmen out there, they are still pretty much doing addition by having this guesstimate kind of feeling, right? I think with my experience, with my background, I want to do this decisions. So, and to me, there is no right or wrong, but it's just that the costing of it is going to be very expensive with that. So with the technology that we have today, AI can help you to analyze your data, right? And we can help you to collect data. Why not you put all these experts together and then start analyzing your data? With that, we actually provide 2 solutions. One is actually customer data platform. We help you to segmentize the data, and then we help you to activate the data. That's basically what we want to do, and also to share with you in some of the coaching section later today. Within the platform and also the framework that we have, of course, we work together with by leveraging our solutions hosted with AWS. In fact, we can save a lot of time. When I look at the clouds that we have today, right, I'm pretty much quite happy and also proud that having you all to participate in that, because in my generation, if we were to participate in any of these competitions or even a hackathon, last time we don't have the terms of a hackathon, so we have to build the coding from the scratch itself. That's mean we really literally have to do a print code from 48 hours or 72 hours that we have. But today, with the AI that we have, what AWS team has actually shared with you, it's just a few prompt of commands. You can actually generate codes already. So make use of this. Of course, we also have to understand what are the services that you should be focusing. There are, I think, more than 100 of AI engine out there. Which one actually best fit to you for you to solve the problem today? Some of the data that we actually collect is just far more than the customer data profiles that you have. But in fact, there are a lot of intelligent data that we could actually collect. There are a lot of retentions, loyalty, rewards data that we could also collect as well. We will have our team to share with you a little bit more later on. Some of the recognitions throughout the year. As a startup, as usual, we have to be on the platform like you all also to get ourselves to be validated. So to make sure that we are actually on the right trend, right? By not doing everything by ourselves. Get yourself to be, more ready for validations in any form of platform that you have today. And I believe that there are a lot of platforms out there available, not only from Malaysia, but beyond Malaysia as well. Gen AI, from our context, is basically a combination of not only the technology, but the businesses as well. So that's the reason that why we always have to start understanding the problem statement. I guess it's just like doing math to me. So you have to understand the question first before you can actually take up the formula and then come up with the solutions with that. So the same things goes with our business as well. Business understanding is always our number one key success factor. So in this case today, you really have to gather your team to really sit down and then how much you understand the problem statement. How do you make relevance to the business that you are actually speaking with? In this case, going to be your judges, right? Of course, ChatGPT get to be known by everyone in the year of 2022. But in fact, started from 2010, right? We already started to talk about data, talk about AI. So we just want to share with you the revolutions of this AI itself, right? Is way faster than what we thought as compared to 10 years ago. Of course, before this data also very important. Everyone, if you go out and talk to the business person, they will tell us that, wow, AI implementation is very expensive, right? Very costly. That's because of you are trying to get everything to be done by the AI. But if you really come down to that, right? Businesses actually want to leveraging on Gen AI just to focus on customer experience. On our site, we actually implemented a solutions for T-Life by helping them to collect and also segmentize sentiments data, so they can use the data to understand what's the behavioral and also sentiments that they have on the ground and also from the customer as well. There are a lot of things that we can actually share with you in a very detailed manner, but I don't have the time, unfortunately. But what we are actually saying is that is, again, back to you, what are the experience that you are trying to deliver, so then you can actually decide what are the data that make use to be collected and also to make use of the AI services to empower your solutions. On our site, day to day, we are providing solutions to help our customer to boost lead generations, to repeat sales. We mentioned we want you to come back to the business more often than you thought you would. We also help businesses to deliver, the omni-channels support by connecting to the customer touch point that they have. And of course, to respond customer faster, I think AI bot right now can probably do a lot more than what you have, could imagine. To expand the social media outreach, we talk about ASEAN Record, and we just had a conversation with Aldrich, which is the founder of ASEAN Record. So how we should work together and to implement an AI that help them to really reach out to the market at the ASEAN level. That's basically the collaborations that we have in mind. Of course, having to say that implementations to the actual business world is important. If your parents is also SP Setia, which is a property developer, one of the top property developers in Malaysia, you probably have already been using our app as well. So we basically empowered SP Setia to start engaging with their customer through the app, started from the MCO period. And now we are implemented for them in phase 4, and now we are also in talking about how we can actually expanding the reach of customer experience services within the app as well. So they are trying to digitalize the entire buying, purchasing kind of behavior and also pattern in the app as well. We also have shopping mall app as well. Before we come in, the shopping mall will have to approve the receipt one by one. But right now, they are actually empowering the AI, help them to scan the receipt, to approve the receipt, and also the most important, to help them to gather the customer or the shopper behavior just in the real-time dashboard itself. So that's basically something that we already implement with our clients to roll out in the coming years. For the judges to come in, I think you really have to think about it. AI is just it's just a technology platform to us. But most importantly, for you all to think about like how do you win the battle is to think from the perspective like how could you help businesses or your problem statement owner to save time, to save costs, and also to grow their business, and most importantly to make their customer happy and also satisfied as well. So that's basically the key criteria that every time when we implement AI, we have to think from these 4 key elements of it beyond just technology. I guess these are some of the informations that we can actually share with you, or if not, then you can actually reach out to any one of us to have more understanding of like why we need AI and how do we actually create an what we call in return of investment from the AI perspective. Business users, they always like to ask, I spend this amount of money, how much do I actually be able to get it back as a return? Lastly, I guess on our side, we want to be as open as possible with you and also as real as you as well. I mean, we are more than happy and also to welcome any one of you, even though you are not the team that we coach, step on to us and step forward to us, and we will actually be able to share with you more business problem statement and also how do we fine tune your thought a little bit that's coming from the business world. With that, I guess, thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. For those of you here, could I just please ask you to stay put out of courtesy to our industry guests here? Okay, let's move on. We're nearly done. Okay, let's move on to our 5th talk. May I invite Mr. Lim Chi Hao, CEO and founder of Tapway, to deliver his talk about how Vision AI transforms business operations. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm Chi Hao from Tapway. Yeah, I see the numbers are dwindling a bit, so I'll better get right to it. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, just a short introduction. Tapway, we are a Malaysian-based company focusing on Vision AI. So anything that deals with images and videos. So I'm sure you guys know about multi-modal LLM these days. So image and videos, this is one of the, I would say, most important mode of AI. So that's why we call ourselves, of course, our tagline is turning pixels into insights, right? So turning any images and videos into data for everyone. So what we do is really not just turning vision into data, but also into action, right? So if you look at the analogy of a human body, we are the brain layer to cameras, which are your eyes, right? So if you talk about a setting like this auditorium, there could be maybe 10 different cameras, right? So what can you do with this? Maybe for crowd monitoring, attendance, occupancy, maybe rowdy behavior monitoring, so on and so forth. So that sits on our layer of Vision AI. And of course, we can also link to, let's say, climate control systems. If there's less people, maybe you don't have to blast aircon so much. So that's more on the IoT sensor part. And execution, let's say for manufacturing, we can stop a conveyor belt, or we can redirect certain products that are defected to another line. So this is basically what we do. I'm going to go a bit faster. We serve many different industries. In its essence, we are a Vision AI platform that can serve pretty much any vertical. We have some strong use case around retail, F&B, and we also do a lot of warehouse and manufacturing. So I'll deep dive into some examples later just to enlighten everyone here. So our platform is called Samurai. Of course, capital AI, because we do AI in and out. We have 2 different products or sub-products. One focusing a lot on training, right? So one of the more, I think, more tricky issues for a lot of the businesses out there. Once you guys go out to the business world, you'll figure out that, yeah, everyone wants to automate vision AI, but they can't train a model fast enough, or they don't know how to train a model. So Samurai Central is meant to do that. Samurai Copilot has nothing to do with Microsoft Copilot, but it serves the same purpose, which is to be an assistant to business operations, right? So yeah, it is an inference platform, if you guys know about inference. And for the layman people, it's a video analytics platform. So you can feed video in and get data out pretty much. I'll just talk a little bit about the technical spec or technical architecture, how we build our platform. In its essence, that's good. Okay, so in its essence, Samurai Central, that's our training platform. It sits 100% on AWS Cloud. It's a very easy SaaS platform. You can register an account. You can create a new project, upload images, do some auto labeling, and train the model immediately. Once the model is trained, then you go into the second part, which is a Samurai Copilot. So this is a platform, this is a product that you can install pretty much anywhere. Of course, preferably AWS, right? So for some customers, they may want to do edge processing. So edge processing means that you will run it close to where the cameras are, depending on connectivity challenges and so on and so forth. So what we do, we will connect to CCTVs or cameras and then run our AI model and then trigger certain action after that. So that's basically what Samurai Copilot is. In its essence, I'll just share a little bit about some of the features. And of course, we are looking for help from all the talents out here to be able to build a stronger platform that can serve the region and potentially globally. So we have an agentic AI workflow builder. Very simple. You say, this camera, please monitor if someone leaves the seat, trigger an alert to someone. Just an example, right? So that's a workflow builder that we have. Totally just drag and drop. We also have a dashboard. This live dashboard is really, if you guys have seen a security room before, maybe your condo or whatever, it is just bunch of CCTV screens. It serves nothing, literally. So we turn it around. It's basically an AI-driven live dashboard that can trigger alerts that matter to security and operations. So that's what this serves. We also have a very smart Gen AI module right now for event search. So for example, you like to look for people with a bag that is wearing a black suit, for example. You will be able to filter all the results and play back a video. So that's a lot easier than looking at timestamp and what camera this person is. And it's just a nightmare for security to do. And thanks to VLM, and I'm sure you guys have heard about multi-model LLM out there. And we are working very hard to support VLM efficiently with live streams. So that's very difficult. So it can constantly monitor certain or to answer certain questions. And if it triggers a expected response, then you can do a certain action, for example, right? So that's a very exciting things that we are building right now that we need a lot of developer help. And finally, AI-driven action trigger, right? So yeah, again, don't wait for someone to tell you, then you take action. AI should take care of that. It should be automated. So I'm gonna skip through some of this. I don't think I'll deep dive into this, but for those who are interested later, come by our booth. I'll be there for a bit after this, and I'll be happy to share with you guys a bit more in detail what we are building in terms of training and inference around Vision AI. Yeah, so this is one example that we have built. One of the biggest challenges with Vision AI training models is just the amount of labeling effort that's required. It's an irony that to train an AI model to automate something, you need to do a lot of manual work. So we are trying to overcome this problem by doing auto labeling with Gen AI model. So these are just some of the examples. Gonna skip past this just to give you guys some examples, right? So you guys are probably from the academia, from university, you may not yet be in the business world, but they are pretty much all verticals that require some sort of vision AI automation, right? So maybe a very relevant example, like a restaurant that you guys always will go to, right? What are the typical challenges, right? As a store manager, you only have one pair of eyes, and you need to monitor your staff, you need to monitor the customers, you need to monitor hygiene in the kitchen. You just can't do it by yourself, right? So that's where AI can really help be a co-pilot to the store manager, right? So this is just an example. I'm not going to go into the details since due to the lack of time. Yeah, so that's happening on the front, and this is in the back, right, in the kitchen. For warehouse, it could be for safety monitoring, right? Again, these days, I would say not every warehouse has even a safety manager or officer, but most of them now have maybe one or two, and they have to monitor thousands of square feet, or tens of thousands of square feet, which is just not possible, right? So they will only, safety officer's job normally will be reacting to incidents after the fact. And with AI, it should be before it happens, right? So it should serve as a preventive measure. So yeah, I'm just going to throw some examples out, right? So these are things that can be done with Vision AI, starting from the very basic on manufacturing quality control to another quality control example in oil and gas industry to agriculture. So this is palm oil, to everyone's favorite fruit, durian grading. Yeah, talk to us more if you want to learn how it works, right? So many different sectors. This is for automating driving tests grading. Yeah, I think this is already currently implemented. And food quality checker, make sure the pizza delivered to you is not burned, right? So these are just across the board, tons of different examples. And for those who are aspiring to be an entrepreneur, that's so many problems to work on, even within the Vision AI domain. This is for law enforcement or mobile enforcement. So yeah, I'm just going to skip past all this. So basically, what we do as a platform, we want to be as generalized as possible to help different companies to solve different Vision AI challenges. And building a platform is not easy, and that's why I'm here today to hire as many talents as possible and to find the brightest talent to help solve the trickiest problem in the Vision AI domain. And yeah, I guess for those who are looking for a position, either from the corporate world or from university, yeah, we have tons of different roles available. For those who are seeking internship or would like to do a final year project, look out for us. We have tons of different actual problem statements to solve. All right, so that's it. I think, yeah, I'm just going to skip past this and leave it on this slide. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lim. Okay, our penultimate talk is AI native software development with GitLab. So may I invite Mr. Vincent K. Limanto, Head of Commercial Southeast Asia and India from GitLab, to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's still morning, right? Because the day is still long. Like you still have today and tomorrow for the hackathon, by the way, right? So, we're pleased to be here. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Vincent. I lead our commercial sales team for GitLab for Southeast Asia, Taiwan, and India. So pleased to be here. And today, what I will bring and I will share with you is the AI native software delivery lifecycle that GitLab is doing. Now, what I will share with you is what our approach, our solutions, and other things. But I will also like to draw it back to takeaways that you can use in this hackathon itself. Okay, so first thing first, every year we are doing global study with our customers and our users. Like, so last year we have like 5,000 customers participated in that. Like we had a global DevSecOps study. And out of that, a whopping 78% of the organizations tell us that AI, they are implementing or they are going to implement AI in the software development lifecycle itself. right? So we have been hearing from many panels, many industry leaders on the solutions and how AI is being used in a business context in the applications that they built. But right now, people are also looking on how they use AI into the entire software development itself. Now, the number increase year by year. So it tells us that AI is here to stay, and this trend will only continue. Now, but the problem is this, right? That many organizations, when you think about the software development lifecycle, it's not just one single thing, right? How many of you have built applications before? Can I see your hand raised? With whoever left in the room, can I see your hand if you have built applications before? How many of you are working in the corporate world? I see some of you as well. So when you're building applications in the corporate world, it's a bit different when you're building applications by yourself. It's just like cooking, right? You can cook by yourself, and cooking in a big kitchen in a hotel with multiple chefs is completely different things, right? So a lot of the times when we see people how they deliver software, it's just like delivering foods in the kitchen, right? So this is like how it looks like from a DevOps tool chain that they make. They have like multiple things being spun up and weaved together, like anything from GitHub, Argo CD, Jira, Datadog, JFrog, and everything else, right? But and what we hear from the organizations that 74% of them, right, currently using AI for the software development, but they also want to consolidate the tool chain. Why? Because 69% of them tell us that a quarter of the developer time is spent on managing and maintaining those tools. A quarter. Can you imagine that? So in a year, 90 days or 3 months of a developer time is spent just on maintaining and integrating tools. If you can reduce that, how much more can you build, right? And the reality is 84% of the organizations are using a lot, anywhere between 2 to 10 DevOps tool. In fact, in the recent event that we had, like some of them even use more than 10 tools. So, but at the same time, when we talk about AI in the software development, a lot of the focus today and a lot of the solutions, and by the way, the solutions are great and we partner with many of them, but a lot of the solutions focuses on just one thing, which is the coding. But the reality is only 21% of the time of a developer is spent on coding. The remaining 79% is spent on many other tasks, especially when you work in the corporates, if you work in the teams, if you work collaboratively. You have to continually maintain your codes. You have to create summary. You have to create documentations. You have to transform and renew your codes. You have to find bug fixes. You have to check for security exposure and everything else, right? So 79% of the time is actually spent there, not including the maintaining of the tools that I just mentioned earlier on, right? So when we just solve one part of the problem, while it's great, right, it may introduce many other things, because this entire thing is not just, you can't just solve in isolation, but you have to solve it in the entire thing, right? So that got us thinking that maybe we need to have a better approach, that we need to have to think software development as the entire life cycle itself, not just coding and creating codes, right? But the entire things has to be fixed as a system, right? So that's why in GitLab, we believe that AI has to be across the entire software development life cycle. And not just that, but we need to take into account what's important to you, and especially if you're working in organizations, or you will be, majority of you will be working in corporates and in organizations. These are the things that are important to be taken into account, right? How about the privacy and transparency, right? The security of the data and everything else, right? And there are so many AI models out there that's available today, and I can guarantee you one thing. If you check it again 2 weeks from now, there will be more models coming into the market, right? There will be more models, there will be better models. But the thing is not so much about which model is the best, but which model fits better, right? So our approach here is to see which models give us the right, is right for the specific use cases, right? And at the same time, I think many of our speakers have said that as well, that data is the foundations for AI to work, right? AI is not just tools, but it's also how you actually manage and orchestrate knowledge, right? So data is super important. What we believe when we are consolidating things into one platform, it allows you to have unified data store that provides full context of your workflow, of full context of your business and applications, right? So it means that even for DevSecOps, for software development lifecycle, we have to take a step back and understand what are the workflow, what are the use cases, what are the things that are involved there, right? It's not just about writing codes, but how we do project planning. How do we capture the actual requirement, right? How do we maintain those source code, right? And how do we do continuous integrations and improvement on those codes? Like all of this as well, like, and then not just managing the codes, right? But today you will also learn, and tomorrow, you don't just build codes, but you have to deploy it in infrastructure somewhere in AWS, for example, right? So that it can be used, it can be accessed by people, by users. And as you scale and as you add more features and as more users come in, right, you will have incidents, right? Any applications will have some incidents, but how do you monitor that and how do you fix that is important. And the bigger your impact later on, the more users assess your applications, the more security exposures you will have, right? So all of these things are important for us, right? And important for DevSecOps in the integrations and when you consider the entire software development lifecycle itself. So that's why in GitLab, we map this out and we create the workflow-based architecture that's integrated into GitLab platform itself. So we don't just work as a one single tool. Oh, we give you the source code management, but we forget about the deployment. We don't just give you the entire CI/CD, but forget about the security. We map out those workflows and build those into one single platform that you can use as an individual, as a team, as an organizations, where you can use and you can scale with it as well, right? And with this workflow, what it means later on, when we add AI to it, we have AIs across all the entire lifecycle itself. And the AI is not disjointed. It's the same AI, same thing that we use, and it has the context of your entire workflow. You don't need to integrate it anymore. You don't need to think about whether this AI and that AI have the different opinion about your workflow, about your context, right? So it's really important to understand that. So just imagine this workflow as I said earlier, a kitchen production in a hotel, right? So you're basically in creating an application. You're as if like you are multiple chefs working in a hotel kitchen, right? It's big. So it's not just about having more tools. It's not just about having more automations or doing things fast, but how you orchestrate things together, how you move from point A to point B, from the preparations of the dish or to your cooking of it, on how you present it later on and deliver it to the customer, right? So that's the most important part of it. And one thing, of course, with that, we understand that as we continue to evolve, we're going to partner, we're going to orchestrate, right? So that's why we partner with AWS. We integrate GitLab Duo with Amazon Q to help with the future, to build the future of AI-driven software development lifecycle. GitLab Duo has been there in the entire software lifecycle. Amazon Q allows us to bring the agentic experience into that and unlock many other use cases that's not possible before, right? So it brings the best of both worlds. GitLab as the DevSecOps platform that is unified, give you the central data store, and AWS with the deepest, richest, and the most secure, highly available cloud services, including the agentic AI, bringing together for you, right? So one of the use cases that's getting unlocked by this is how we make idea to merge requests faster, right? So a lot when you are in, especially when you are in the applications world and engineering world, in a corporate, there are definitely backlogs. There are definitely many ideas stuck in the backlogs. Now, and the problem with that, the bottleneck is developers' time, the bandwidth, right? So what we want to do is how we can accelerate the conversion from idea to merge request, right? So many ideas stops there, but using AI, we intend to accelerate that part. So let's take, for example, in this video demo, right there's a backlog in the issue. So with GitLab Duo, you basically can access, look at the recommendations from AI, how the implementation approach that's best for this requirement, right? And not just getting, and GitLab Duo will then provide you with the suggestions, the implementation approach, the architecture approach that's suitable for it. Now, and the thing is, this is not just taking data from elsewhere that may not have a context, but it's also looking into your application and see whether it's contextually aware, right? And so see how the key considerations for implementations, for example, right? So there are many things that are being given here. And on top of the technical guidance, I can also give you how to help you to make the product documentations. Now, when you are ready, what you need to do is just type /Q-dev, and then it will trigger Amazon Q service basically to create and act upon those issues, create the coding and create a new merge request with all the encoding, which then you can review, right? Now, so we believe as well with all the leaders as well, all these speakers have been saying that human in the loop is important. So you can have the ability to check on the coding itself, the result of it. Does it make sense to you? Is there anything that you want to change, right? So, and you have the ability to make recommendations on top of it as well, right? So take, for example, if you want to have some changes into the codes itself, what you can do is you can just highlight those lines. You can leave feedback within that, right? You can leave feedback on the highlighted codes. And then what you can do next is, again, type Q-dev. And it will trigger, again, Amazon Q to act upon the feedback and, again, recreate another issue, another merge request, which you can review again, and you can push it to production. Right, so it's a powerful combination of how you can manage the entire software delivery, and using Amazon Q as part of that to allows you to not just create the codes, but also doing the review. How do you can create a new merge request and basically makes your job faster and easier, right? But that's only just one of the use cases. I don't have all the video. I don't have the time to go through all the videos. You can look at it online, but there are many things that we can do together with Amazon, right? How you can optimize your code by reviewing that, how you can remediate security vulnerabilities, and how you can transform old applications to the newer version with that, right? So all of those are available with GitLab Duo with Amazon Q, right? So this is just a couple of customer examples that have been using us. And GitLab itself is a leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant. I'm not going to go through this too much, but basically all the partners here that's being curated and sponsored here are the best in the industry itself, and which you can rely on as you go through your journey. But what I want to leave you is this, right? There are many resources that are available online, right? So as our blogs, and especially our GitLab University, check out on those because there are so many contents, and we run bi-weekly webinars, right? That's available in our time zone as well. That allows you to learn more about GitLab, about software development itself, and there are a lot of other documentations there. Now, I just want to summarize this with 3 key points, right? The 3 key takeaways for me, like if you forget everything about all the specific features and everything, because that's not the point, but the point is this, that AI is here and AI is here to stay. So be bold, like what Pete Murray said, be bold in adopting that. But at the same time, number 2, understand that AI requires the understanding of the problem statement, and you always need to contextualize it. You always need to understand the workflow. Like even in the software development, I need to understand the workflow itself behind it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about, number 3, it's not just about having more tools at your disposal. That's great, but how you use it matters. Have a better approach, and that will solve a lot of problems as well. So with that, I wish all of you all the best. Enjoy the process, and let's build for Malaysia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. Okay, that leads us to our last talk for today. Well, last but certainly not least. With that, I'd like to invite Mr. Jambu Lingam, consultant lead of Korn Ferry, to deliver his talk on driving Malaysian innovation, the Korn Ferry way. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a long day, and I know there's a hackathon waiting, and I know that probably lunch is waiting as well. But before we start, I'd like to ask a small favor from those of you who are still here. Firstly, if you don't mind, and I know some of you may already be working, if we could all just stand for a second, because we've been sitting for a really long time. I'm not going to make you do anything, just if we could stand up. This is not a punishment. There's no tricks. Okay, yeah, see, I see someone stretching. If you are comfortable, only if you are comfortable with the person next to you, and if you're not, you can do it to yourself. I'd like you to turn around and for one person to gently massage the other on the back. Just punch, if you are comfortable. Not so gentle, a little bit more energy, Ken. If not, you can do it to yourself on your shoulders. Stretch out a little bit. We've got a massage toga line going here. Now, if you can flip, please, and return the favor to the other person. Okay, thank you. Now, you can take your seats back again. Thank you for humoring me. Why did we do that? Couple of reasons. First, we've been sitting for a very long time. But secondly, just to remind us that one of the things that actually we do need on a day-to-day basis is connection and touch, and understanding how touch actually triggers feelings and emotions and understanding. So while we are here and you've been listening to a lot of my colleagues, my esteemed colleagues talking, they bring the tech background, they bring the coding background, and they bring the knowledge of the platforms that you need. What we do in Korn Ferry is to help you connect that technology, that knowledge, with the person who will be using it at the end, either the end user or your customer. We heard a few times today about the problem statements. And in my early years, I used to work in venture capital. And I frequently ran into founders and technologists and creators and inventors, who loved the problem, who loved their code, who loved their technology. One thing that I can tell you from an investor's perspective is that the companies we invested in are not those that came with a problem that they loved, but came with a solution that we could see. All my colleagues today, my fellow speakers whom you met, whose companies are successful today, who have customers, who have employees, the reason is because that they understood that while the problem is extremely interesting, if I'm solving for a problem that nobody really cares about, there's no business and there's no commerciality. And so as developers, as technologists, as coders, as hackathoners, it's extremely important for you to be extremely customer obsessed. The companies that succeed, the businesses that succeed, the investors that come to you will not invest in the problem if the solution cannot be sold, if it cannot be built and shipped. My colleagues showed you a lot of demos today. I told you I'm not a tech guy. I have no tech or coding background. You saw a lot of what's happening today and what's going to happen tomorrow or in the near future. I want to take you a little bit behind, if you would humor me. So it's actually not that long ago. My grandfather used to tell me stories of horse carriages. I know I'm a little bit older than the average age in the group, but horse carriages used to be the way to transport people and goods. Then around late 1800s, early 1900s, we started hearing about these machines that ran on wheels. And there was a lot of resistance to it. People not understanding why. What if those machines cannot be controlled? What if those machines hallucinate? I'm making that part up, but essentially, how do you work with these machines? Now, the one true thing that we can hold on to is that things can seem impossible until they are inevitable. It was not very long after the first creation of a tram or a car that horse carriages were completely taken off the roads, that they disappeared. By 1917, in US and in Europe, particularly in US, there were no more horse carriages, and they were all replaced by cars and trams. Why is that important? Because people thought that they had a solution to the problem, which was transport. They didn't know that there was another solution and a better solution. Had we just loved the problem, we may still have arrived here today in horse carriages, but because we understood that there was better solutions and better needs, and that there were pain points, that we were then able to progress. Another very quick piece of history. I want to take you 30 years even back into history, 1893. What may have been actually the first hackathon? So it was the Chicago World Fair, for those of you who haven't heard of it. It was 6 months of developers and inventors showing their inventions and their creations. Why was this an important fair? For those of you who may have watched the movie, The Current Wars, this is where there was a huge battle between AC current and DC current, between Thomas Edison and Westinghouse and Nikola Tesla. Before that, they could not imagine an entire fair lit up at night. Nikola Tesla won the war, and when they flipped on the switch, night was as bright as day, and that then led to the winner of the electricity war, the current war back then, which was Tesla. Now we use DC. There's a whole story behind that, which we won't get into now. The point is that it allows you a space to showcase. It allows you a space to think about problems and the solutions that can sell. And so today, this hackathon is kind of your World Fair. It's your opportunity not just to create. I know you have your AWS sandboxes, you have your credits, you have solutions and problem statements that you've thought about. The question is, have you thought about who is the buyer and who is the user of those solutions and making that link? I don't need to tell you all this. You are much more close to the technology world than I am, but I just want to share a couple of things. We are way past the point of inevitability with AI. Whether AI 1.0, AI 2.0, how it will look like in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, we don't know. But what we do know is that we've let go of the pole and we are flipping over the top. So the AWS people are here. I just recently saw an interview with Jeff Bezos, who said that this is our electricity moment. Just like the electricity moment in the World Fair in 1893, we are at a point of essentially the creation of the next electricity revolution. Let me give you a couple of small examples. Just yesterday, the chief AI architect of New York University shared an article. The large companies now are creating, like you will have today, sandboxes where they are generating AI workers, not AI bots, AI workers. What the AI workers are doing today are observing how people are using the technology. In these sandboxes, they are learning how to use Salesforce and Zendesk at a much more efficient level than an intern or a new analyst or someone who's coming out of uni will be able to. Who are they observing? They are observing NASA data scientists. They are observing medical residents. They are observing private equity investors, looking at every single click and every single decision they make. They are learning that and then incorporating it into the various platforms that you've seen today. Second example, about maybe 6 months ago, 12 to 6 months ago, MIT ran an experiment with its tech MBA students. The experiment was they gave them a Copilot platform, a Microsoft Copilot platform that was empty, and told them to create an AI-first company. What are the examples that came up? And one of the thoughts that came up was, rather than creating an org chart and finding out who we need to fill up those various boxes, why don't we upload all our CVs in and then let it tell us what the org chart should look like? So we are starting to see the creation of AI-first companies where AI is at the center not an add-on or an augmentation. And that's where all of you are and all the hackathoners are. You are on that cusp of a huge change in the way that we work and a huge change in what customers and consumers are going to expect from you. Very briefly, why is this important? Malaysia's AI moment. YB Gobind Singh was here earlier. If you haven't read the news, Malaysia is expecting by 2030 to capture roughly 500 billion ringgit in AI impact to the economy. In the 2025 budget, the government has put aside 600 million for AI research and 50 million for AI education. So you are the ones who are really, again, in the cusp of experiencing that, gaining that, and getting the advantage. So it's not just Malaysia's AI moment, but it's the AI moment for each one of you as a developer, as an inventor, as a technologist. So some of you then might be asking, you've said a few times, Ayin, that you're not a technologist, you have no technology background. Why is Korn Ferry here and what do you do? So if you would allow me just half a minute, Korn Ferry is an executive search and talent advisory firm. We bring leadership, strategy, and talent. Talent meaning you, the people. So we sit at the center of these 3 points, and we deal with what your eventual customers will be facing on a daily basis. We deal with the issues. We talk to CHROs, Chief HR Officers. We talk to Chief Executive Officers. We talk to boards. We talk to Chief Technology Officers who are facing problems on a daily basis. How do we implement the technology? How do we get over the FOMO of our neighbors are doing that, so we have to do, but we don't know how to quantify it? How do we hire the right people? And very frankly, we are having also conversations. It was raised earlier by some of my colleagues. As AI is taking over redundant and routine jobs, and we do need to let go of people or restructure people, how do we need to rethink about the organization structure of the future? That's not in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now for those of you who are in year 1, year 2, or year 3. That's happening right now as we speak. So Korn Ferry's perspective is that the future really is human plus AI. We will be issuing a white paper very soon where we are challenging the notion. A lot of people that we are seeing, our clients are saying to us, we need you to help us redesign our current roles. We need to think about the skills that we need to be AI ready. We need to think about AI ready leaders. And that is helpful. But what we then tend to think about are the technical skills that you need, which is great. But based on the trajectory and history that we've seen, and when I say history, I mean the last 18 months, what we think are skills for the next 2 to 3 years, in the next 6 months will probably be redundant. Because the pace of change that you are facing is extremely incredible. So what are we saying? We are saying that the future will be AI augmented by humans, meaning that you saw earlier where the human intervention is 25% and the AI does 75%. Back to the MIT example where you are building AI-first startups and AI-first companies, where AI is actually telling you how the org structure should look like, and AI is helping you think about the strategy, and you as the human element is augmenting that. This is why, going back to the start, when I invited you to stand up and give each other a massage, 1, it was to relax everyone a little bit, but 2, it's to remind us that the human touch is absolutely critical. And when we take out the human touch from the loop, you've also heard human in the loop from a few of my colleagues. I was going to talk about it too. When you take out the human from your thinking and your consideration, you're losing a critical part of your ecosystem. I'll just go through this very, very quickly. So you've heard about the problem-first approach, understanding the problem, but understanding whose problem are you solving, and is there a buyer? Keeping the human in the loop, redefining roles and skills, beyond just thinking about what AI skills do we need, what data skills do we need, what analytical skills do we need, also thinking about as AI is going to take this role this job, this task, this function potentially take my job? What are the kind of skills do I need to stay relevant in the role? As you build, we heard YB Gobind Singh say that where this can go in the future is incredible, it's mind-boggling, and again, each 6 months we are finding out things that we didn't think were possible. So when you are building, as builders, as technologists, as coders, it's important to think about the operating models and the guardrails that you're putting in place, the governance and the ethics around what you're creating and how it can be used and how you can help manage that. This is a part that we frequently see our coders and inventors and technologists not necessarily think about because of the love of the problem and the love of the solution. And the final one is proving your value through metrics. So for those who may not yet have gotten that far in your thinking for the hackathon, one thing to think about is what is the one metric that you would use, and what is the one customer who would value that metric, and how will you create that? Because as one of my colleagues said earlier, otherwise it's a nice scientific experiment. For this hackathon to be useful for you, to be useful for the mentors and the judges, and to ultimately be useful for the person who may invest or want to take you forward, that metric has to be absolutely valuable. So do try to spend a little bit of time to think about what that metric might be. This was going to be a video, but I will skip through it for now. I just wanted to share one last thing. The Chicago World Fair that I showed you in 1893, the electricity, the current wars took the majority of the mind space and everyone's attention. But there was another thing that was first introduced at the Chicago World Fair, which was the Ferris wheel. It wasn't built to have any particular functionality. It doesn't move. It's a static thing that goes around, but it was built for awe and it was built for wonder. What it did create unintentionally was inspiration. It showed people what you could do with structure, with metal, and with material. It showed people how you could think differently and how you could use material differently. So perhaps another invitation to the hackathoners today is to think about what it is that you're building. You know that, we talk about fail fast, fail quick, learn fast. What you build may not be the end product, but what you build will be something that could inspire awe and could open up doors to the future to think about how can we use this material, this code, this process, this thinking differently to solve future problems. So I'm sure what some of you will build today would be beautiful. I'm sure what some of you will build today would be useful. But the best would be those that are both beautiful and useful. And so with that, I wish you all a fantastic hackathon. Have a great day. Have lots of fun. Be bold, be curious, and all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. That was most certainly worth the wait. Okay. Can I just remind our corporate and industry partners here that to collect their goodie bags outside before lunch. Okay. And just a reminder to the students that tomorrow is about the hacking. Okay, so please don't just disappear. There are dedicated spaces for you here. And more importantly, the mentors and the AWS Solutions Architect will be here to give you guidance and support. Okay, with that, we are seconds away from the official start of the Great Malaysia AI Hackathon. Okay, so I think without much further ado, then let's commence our hacking. All the best, and thank you very much, everyone. That brings this first session for today to a close. Thank you.